Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so close I could taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me. Yeah, why would you bet on Goliath when we got Bet David? Valuetainment, giving value's contagious. This world of entrepreneurs, we get no value to haters. How they run, homie, look what I become. I'm the one.
Matters. Yeah. That million matters. Anyways, all right, so episode 406. We got a lot of weird things going on right now, folks. A lot of weird things going on. We got the great Chris Cuomo in the house today. It's great to have you here, brother.
It is a pleasure
Smells
to be part
fantastic.
of the team.
Yes,
Smells
we got
fantastic.
Oshana, we got Sauce, we got Tom, we got Rob, and we got a bunch of stories. Apparently, there's a gag order against Candace Owens. According to who put it out there, Rob? The video is what? Weinstein? Is
Glenn Greenwald.
Glenn Greenwald. Okay, got it. Glenn Greenwald that put the video out there. We'll show it. And then judge threatens Trump with jail for court violations. I have a job to do. And then we have a story coming out from CNN. I mean, I don't know if we have someone qualified to talk about the story, but according to Radar Online, desperate CNN executives floating idea of bringing back Ousted anchor, this guy named Chris Cuomo. As ratings continue to struggle, maybe we'll get some commentary.
Who's that guy? Ousted is progress. Yeah. It's better than disgraced, kicked out. For,
Desperate.
For doing a gnome on 3 different dogs. But take Ousted.
Maybe that means they kind of really are wanting to make an offer. We'll talk about
it's like a little bucket of bad adjectives,
Listen, I may not be a lawyer, but I think I can act as a good agent and negotiate on your behalf. I think, we can do something like that.
Appreciate it.
But anyway, as if you need it. But the judge threat, we talked about that. Donald Trump refuses to debate RFK Jr. He's not a serious candidate. Voters reveal whether they trust Biden or Trump more to handle issues. Interesting. Then you got this whole thing going on with campus protests. Folks, it's pretty ugly what's going on there. Columbia cancels university-wide commencement ceremony after weeks of protests on campus. Mayor Adams comes out saying they should be holding the ceremonies. You shouldn't cave. And then meanwhile, Jerry Nadler slams Benjamin Netanyahu as the worst Jewish leader in 2,100 years. He literally went back and, thought about all the people he hung out with in 2,100 years, and he said Netanyahu's the worst. We'll have a conversation with that as well.
No, he met both of them.
Berkshire Hathaway operating earnings soared 39% as Buffett's cash hoard. You know how much Buffett's sitting on right now for cash? $188 billion. He's sitting on. He can buy a few countries if he wanted to. Hey, Belize, this is me. Like Bugsy, I want this house. Yeah. Get out, right?
Yeah, that's one Twitter and a Starbucks.
That's right. So as summer approaches, so does California law that will drive restaurant menu prices higher. This Bitcoin trader loses $70 million after accidentally sending his crypto to the wrong online account address.
What an idiot.
He lost 97% of his net worth sending that. Anyways, another second Boeing whistleblower dies after raising safety concerns, and Boeing faces 10 more whistleblowers.
Jeez.
After 2 die, people's lives are at stake. Buffett fears AI has enormous potential for harm. You'll see that. ABC News president Kim Goodwin is stepping down. We'll see what the reason is for that. Tom Brady's roast was absolutely ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Tony Hinchcliffe crushed it. We're going to show some of the clips. Kim Kardashian was... what was this? The whole clip with what they said to her. She got up, she got booed, and then Chris is sitting here talking about her resume, and just a fantastic series of events taking place.
Her resume,
yeah. Ex-Nickelodeon producer Dan Schneider sues Quiet on Set creators for defamation. April jobs report shows cooling market, which should please the Fed. Him and her CEO backs praise for anti-Israel protests after stock drops. Automakers question feasibility of California EV. IRS, folks, you ready for this? Got some good news for you from the IRS. It's always great when they say it this way. IRS says audits for rich people and corporations are about to hit a whole new level. Buckle up, like they're talking dirty to you. We're coming for you. Howard Schultz has given his successor at Starbucks advice on LinkedIn. He could have done that on Minnect, by the way, instead. I don't know why he didn't use Minnect. Kevin O'Leary warns students protesters are trashing job chances by fighting police, vandalizing school. And we got a few other videos we're going to show you. Hochul said some stuff about blacks in New York that I can't believe she said that. But Vinny's like, no, Pat, I'm telling you, we're going to show you this video. We got that video to show you. We got a couple other videos to show you. And I don't know if we're going to show you more videos of Christy known for her hate for certain dogs. I don't want to do that. And then Eric Adams. Anyway, so that's what we got right now. We'll get to that here in a minute. Now, I think first story, before we go into some of the things we're doing, Rob, is the following. I want to start off with the first story here. So, desperate CNN exec floats idea of bringing back ousted anchor Chris Cuomo as ratings continue to struggle. This is page 12. So let's see what this offer is. I'm expecting to see a nice offer, details, apology, public apology, but let's see what it looks like. Chris was CNN's best anchor, and his abrupt departure left a gaping hole the network hasn't been able to fill, an insider explained to National Enquirer. There's been a changing of the guard at top levels, and now folks are whispering about bringing Chris back. The powers that be are admitting they might have been hasty about letting Chris go. The insider added they're putting out fillers in the hopes Chris will forgive and forget and come back to help save the network. Sources spilled execs are fearful over CNN's declining numbers as rival Fox News remains number one. The feeling amongst the bigwigs is that Chris could restore CNN to its previous glory. The tipster explained, but others aren't happy with the idea and see a Chris comeback as a definite threat. A lot of people threw Chris to the curb after his ouster, and they're the ones who are worrying the most. So, Chris, what do you have to say about this ousted Chris Cuomo guy here?
What a terrible world we live in. It's just so many layers of ugly. Look, here's the good news. All right, literally none of that is true. Literally. Wow. It just shows you, Tom and I were talking about this yesterday. You show me the outlet, I'll show you the agenda. You're talking about radar. This is hot gossip without basis, anonymous sources, which gives all journalism a bad name. When I look at the picture of me, then I feel like I don't even know who that guy is anymore. I wish I could get in his ear and be like, this is going to get really bad really fast. You're not going to see it, and hold on, and you're really going to know who your friends are, and they're going to be few, and they're going to be valuable. I would never go back, and not because I'm anti-CNN. You guys give me heat about this all the time. I'm grateful to the organization. I love the people who are still there. They're good people. They're doing the job for the right reason. But in life, once you reconcile with why this doesn't kill you, to go back to it is just not the right move. And yeah, part of it is because there are a lot of people there who said a lot of things that I'll never forget. Am I a vengeful person? No, not good for me. I'm also not what they need, by the way. What they have to figure out is, what is their value proposition to the audience? What are we providing on a regular basis? You
don't think they would benefit from bringing you back?
Look, I think I'm good at what I do. I think I was number one there for a reason. But I don't think I'm in line with where they are. I am so obsessed with trying to help bring people together with conversation, and to break through the sides and to attack the parties. That wouldn't fit. I would wind up being sideways with other people who are on air, which I don't want to be. I think that's confusing to the audience. If you and I are back to back and I'm like, yeah, everything you just said, I believe that you're part of the problem. So I don't think I'm a good fit. But also,
is that a hint? Because the back-to-back guy with you was a guy named Don Lemon.
Well, look, I loved working with Don, and it hurt when you think somebody's there, they're not there. It's complicated. I don't judge it. I get it. I get what happened. But we're very different people. We see our jobs very differently. I am not here to see how popular I can become and how many things I can say that will get me more likes and some kind of fake following. To me, it's you're in deep water that you got to look at every day and say, for instance, with the campus stuff, this is destroying America. We got to get back to who we are and what we're about. And if you don't like it, it's fine, but you got to be called out for it. That's not what a lot of outlets do. That's certainly not what he does. And I would rather focus on that than the glory of being at CNN, which is a huge, huge platform, which I'm jealous of, by the way. I never knew what I had. I didn't. I was valuing day to day. What do I do today? What do I do today? How do I stay on top? What's the most relevant thing? I never had a chance to appreciate how much people cared about me coming out of the pandemic. You know, you and I hear it all the time. People say that. I never was able to process it. Before I knew it, coming out of the pandemic, all of a sudden my brother was in the soup. And I was in this desperate position of trying to help him. So I never knew what I had until, you know, like the song goes, you don't know what you have till it's gone. So are we talking about going back? No, it is absolutely false. Wow. They are doing everything they can.
They offered you everything in the world. Would you take it?
No.
You wouldn't go back?
No, and not because I'm bitter.
Double your salary.
You know, you got to move forward. You got to move forward. Do I want to end the dispute with them?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I always have wanted to. I'm not the one gaming the situation. I don't talk about it out of respect. I could. I don't do that.
So you don't have a gag order?
I do not have a gag order.
There's somebody else that apparently has a gag order. We'll get to that story.
A lot
in
of
minute as well.
gagging.
Yeah, but
No.
stay on this. I'm curious. So have they at all invited you to do, like, you know how Don went back on to do what he did after the Mustang?
No.
Have you gotten a single invite?
No.
Even Jeffrey Toobin went back on. Tug and Toobin.
Not only, I will say
I don't
this.
think he's willing to do what he did, though, to get back.
Chris
But-
has standards.
I will say this, okay, and I'm sure my attorneys are going to get upset. Not only are we not talking about going back, okay? I am constantly treated like I was the worst thing. I did the worst thing.
Get outta here.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
Every chance they have. I was never allowed to talk to my team again. All the people I had there were not allowed to be part of my life anymore. All the people who were on air, with very, very few exceptions, ghosted me because the word was, this is what happened. Here's the story. It's all of our stories. Own it if you want to stay here. And it's all bad for me. And they made their choices, which I understand as long as you can live with it. I could never live with going back to a place where I have so much beef with so many people and now I'm supposed to be part of a team because I believe in that. One of the things I love about being with you guys is being able to observe how authentic it is. Differences, of course, but you're here for a purpose. When I look on that on the PBD truck and it's empower, enlighten, educate, you mean it. You guys focus everything through that lens. It's a team concept. I think that's way more powerful than being a huge star. And I like the idea of being part of a team. How can I go back and be part of a team that made a decision to see me as a bad person? That doesn't make sense in my head. So going back is not a possibility. It has never been discussed. Wow. I definitely want to end the beef because I don't want to be sideways with CNN or with any organization. I want to move on with my life. I do believe that this is going to get uglier because eventually we're going to have to tell the story of who went bad on me and why they made up a story about me lying about helping my brother. That never happened. And my boss who fired me and the guy who told him to fire me both know that never happened. So the idea of them asking me to come back, they're not asking me to come back. They're asking me to shut up and crawl away and die.
Okay, so let me go with this. I think this is a perfect transition to going into this story because I want to show something that was going viral on Twitter a few years ago from a clip with you and Byron. I want to bring that up. I want to get your thoughts on the commentary on it. But first, I want to show you this. I want to show you the story that comes out from, if you can pull up the clip, yes. So reports, Daily Wire issued gag order against Candace Owens during public debate negotiations, right? Okay, so let me read this story because, you know, I'm sure you have great feedback to give to both sides on this. So conservative news and commentary outlet, the Daily Wire, has reportedly obtained gag order against former podcast host Candace Owens. The news reported allegations alleges despite company co-founder Ben Shapiro claiming that he wanted to debate her on the Israel-Palestine issue, Owens' 3-year stint at the Daily Wire ended in March following months of tensions between the professional provocateur and her fellow network personalities. The subject of the Israel-Hamas was proved to be a particularly divisive issue for Owens and Shapiro. Owens has taken a firm stance against it, American involvement in foreign wars, including the one in Gaza. Shapiro, an Orthodox Jew, has criticized other Republicans for their declining support for both Israel and Ukraine, stressing America's national security interests in both conflicts. After multiple social media, do you have a video of that as well, Rob, on what he says, or no?
I do. I have Glenn Greenwald reporting.
Okay,
this.
go ahead and have that video if you can play Glenn's. Go for it.
immediately after, Candace Owens went to Twitter and said, I'd like to have a debate with Ben Shapiro about Israel. The Daily Wire ran into an arbitration proceeding and requested that an arbitrator put a gag order on Candace Owens and order her blocked, banned from criticizing the Daily Wire or Ben Shapiro in any way. And none of this was disclosed by the Daily Wire. They had led their audience to believe that they actually wanted a debate with Candace Owens. And yet at the same time, in secret, they were arguing to the arbitrator that the way in which Candace Owens asked for this debate, the expressions of criticism she had voiced about Ben Shapiro, the fact that she had liked multiple tweets that were criticizing Ben Shapiro in the Daily Wire meant that Candace Owens, by negotiating and asking for this debate, had in fact engaged in disparagement of the Daily Wire in a way that violated her contract, and they therefore convinced an arbitrator in secret that they were likely to win if they sued Candace Owens for breach of contract, and the only remedy possible would be to gag Candace Owens from talking about the Daily Wire or Ben Shapiro in any way critically.
I mean, it's a chicken shit move.
So what do you think about that?
Okay, I like it. I'll tell you what, I like the move. This is a very smart move by the Daily Wire. You got to remember, it's not Ben Shapiro anymore. He made his decision. Organizations protect themselves. And when they have a contract with you, they will immediately do this. Now, Glenn, the truth is enough. Glenn doesn't have to say they went in secret. Arbitration is what it is. You know what I mean? It's in your contract. So it's not like they're sneaking around. But so, he doesn't need that drama to it. But the reality is, you're saying one thing to me, but now you got your boys exercising a right on my contract. And you have to look at the reason why, okay? The Daily Wire doesn't believe that Shapiro wins the debate with Candace Owens.
You think they believe that?
100. Otherwise, there's no reason to do it.
Wow.
If this is working for you, you let it go, right? Because the theory is Vinny and Patrick get sideways. And you believe that you got sideways with him for good reason. You want people to know. Yeah, good. Let Vinny talk about why we got sideways. Good. Everyone's going to understand why we did what we did. That's what Ben Shapiro has been saying. Everybody's going to understand that Candace Owens has positions that are not just incorrect, but morally wrong in a way that Ben Shapiro says matters. He's not just another corporate guy. It's not just another company now. But in fact, it is just another company. And the company decided we lose if he goes toe-to-toe with Candace Owens. So shut her up. And they have the right to do it because of the contract.
You think there was a meeting where they sat down, and are you saying like a Ben prompting saying, I don't want to do this debate? Do you think it's a Jeremy thing saying we shouldn't do this debate? Is it that type of a conversation? Or is it like something everybody's thinking nobody wants to say to hurt someone's ego? So they're like, look, we got to do this and we got to protect the company. You think it's second?
I think it's this guy.
Okay.
I think it's the super smart guy who's sitting on the outside.
Vinny is who you're talking about.
Well, he's the face and the scent. I mean, he's distractingly good smelling.
Yeah.
Like, I can't make a point.
You're talking about Tom, obviously.
Tom
like
is
technical lawyer. Not that Vinny is not, but he's technically.
Tom is sitting and listening, being like, oh, yeah, this is great drama. I represent the organization, which is now a huge organization with a lot of investors putting money into us. We lose on this. Shut her down. And that's what they're doing. And now Candace has to make a decision. She has to now listen to her representative saying, well, what's my exposure? Because in terms of the argument, I feel like, well, no, let's go. Let's take the gloves off. Let's see who's who. And she's going to have someone like me, a lawyer, say to her, no, we lose. We have in our contract an arbitration clause. They've gone in there. We lost the argument on whether or not we can talk about the proceedings. So they're going to sanction you, and it's going to hurt you in the process of what our separation is.
Do they lose on substance or on policy? Meaning, I've never seen Ben Shapiro lose a debate. This guy knows what he's talking about.
Oh, I've seen him lose.
Especially
lots
in Israel.
Of debates.
Really?
Oh, yeah. He says a lot of things that are just overstating propositions, especially.
You don't think Candace does that?
Oh, 100%. Look, that's the job.
Yeah, exactly.
If you want to be a provocateur, if you want to be an outrage machine, you're going to stretch. No question about it.
And she's amazing.
I think that she is a very talented.
She's gonna whoop you next time.
Person.
Beat your ass, homie.
She can bring it.
my girl.
I have no problem with her bringing it, especially when it's in good faith. Look, the problem for Ben Shapiro is this. He's been very quiet, okay? That's the first tell. This is not a quiet guy. This is very personal to him. His faith is the center of his person, and that's fine. He is defending controversial propositions, okay? They are not controversial to him. I get it. But what he has done is allowed something that's supposed to be personal to become about business. And I think that that's going to be a bad look for him.
So you know what this analogy
But
is
I
like?
do like the move. Like the move.
This is kind of like, I understand, it's a power move, but you threw it out there, boom, boom, boom,
Yeah.
we got her. Perfect. Hey, lawyers, look what she just said, boom. Go through, it's kind of like, hey, gag order, another $1,000. Look what he just said on that interview. Same exact thing Trump is going through is kind of they're doing, but here's the part. In school, there's a fight, okay? And one guy says, after school.
Yeah.
I'll see you after school.
3 o'clock.
At 3 o'clock
Playground.
after school. That's
Let's
right.
go.
Behind the football stadium, right?
Let's go.
Okay, great. So you go 3 o'clock after school, you meet, the one shows up, okay? And the other one shows up with the principal.
That's exactly what that is.
One gets suspended, okay, for a week from school. But the one that got suspended got street credit.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
That's
I'm just telling you.
And that's exactly it.
Yeah.
But I mean,
If this is true.
If it's true, allegedly, but if you think about it, look at what this situation to me exposed the hell out of not only Ben, but Daily Wire as well. Because think about the hypocrisy too. All this stuff, like, hey, you want to debate, get the lawyers involved. Then a couple days, I think it was yesterday, Shapiro makes a video supporting Elon's reinstatement of Nick Fuentes on X. If you want to talk about anti-Semitic and anti-Jewish, how are you going to flip-flop and now say, you know what, I'm happy that Elon's letting him get on there? Of all people, really?
Who said that?
Ben Shapiro made a video going, hey, I
To be
support...
fair, he also said the following, which you have to understand what he said. He said in an interview with Dave Rubin, he says, we're not a platform. We're a publisher.
Yeah.
Okay? So Nick Fuentes being reinstated on Twitter, that's a platform. He can say that, and he's kind of dancing. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But he's also saying, we're a publisher. We don't, we don't want Candace to say what she's saying here. We can fire him. Regardless of that position, you lose both ways, though.
100%.
Regardless what you say, you're losing with both arguments.
The thing with Ben and Candace, I would argue, there's policy and there's personality. I would say that Ben is a technical policy guy. Candace, amazing marketer, amazing personality. But the biggest question is the following. What is the hill you're willing to die on? We've seen since COVID, people take stances on what they're willing to die on, the single focus that has a primary importance to them. Ben has been exposed. And I'm not saying this is a good or bad thing. The hill he's willing to die on
Is Israel. 1,000%.
So with Candace, what is her hill? My question is...
She has a bunch of hills, though.
Is it anti-BLM? True. Is it America First? True. At one point, the literal hill she was going to die on was exposing Emmanuel Macron's wife as a man. She said the following, that she's willing to bet her entire career on it. So I'm just wondering if this debate happens, how that would all play out.
But see, I think Ben was exposed because the Israel thing, that was his head exploding. No, for months we had to hear this freaking guy and his voice got more annoying. Candace is Michael Jackson bad. She focuses here, bro. Hanging out with her, this girl is a freaking a sponge. She wants to like a little kid. She wants to no, and then by the way, 1 week she's doing this, 1 week it's this, one day she doesn't have a hill, Adam. She has multiple hills that she can attack all of.
But everyone
these guys
has
are
one
together,
hill.
It's like they're siblings. They're twins.
I love her. She's hilarious.
Tom, what are your thoughts on? Because I have one question I want to ask you at the end, and I specifically want to get your thoughts and your thoughts, Tom, on it. But go for it.
Strategically, I agree with Chris. This is good for Daily Wire strategically. However, what happens in the public square? Daily Wire, there's two fights here. Daily Wire in the legal ring just won a 15-round decision where the entire crowd looks at it and said, man, that sucks. That's not right. Mm-hmm. And the brand and the PR, Daily Wire suffered a second-round knockout.
Wow.
That's
good
what
analogy.
happened. Because everybody's looking at Daily Wire, looking at going, man, you guys just look bad. You were people that don't understand the chessboard of legal and contracts and everything are looking at this saying, oh, you didn't want to debate and you did that, man? You went to some judge to do that? That is what a lot of people see. That's a knockout for the brand. That's not where I want to be. Ben looks bad. Jeremy looks bad. Daily Wire looks bad.
I got a question.
And
for
all
you.
she has to do is stand there and say, "I can't talk about it," and she looks fine. But legally, it's a 15-round
Got it.
decision.
Tom,
where we all
question for
just
you.
look at it and say, "Ah, man."
Question for you.
That's
Question for you. So, can a media company historically? You guys lived in America longer than I have. I've only been here since 1990, so I don't have a lot of history prior to that. What happened here, except from the books I've read. Has a media company ever had a fatal moment, a career-ending moment?
I would argue that CNN which has dropped below MSNBC in the ratings, has lost their identity. We saw the documentary, the book, Call Me Ted. I would argue that where is CNN now? Just quite frankly, we all know where I stand, moderate, middle, unifier type of guy. I have a mixed media diet. I watch CNN for two people, Cuomo and who I think is the most brilliant guy on TV, Fareed Zakaria. I literally don't watch CNN after Cuomo left, and Fareed only is on Sundays. Where the hell is CNN these days?
So you think, I don't think CNN is fatal though, because I think if we had the kind of resources and we were able to make an offer to buy CNN and bring it in, and I know somebody else is running it from the top, I think there's something because I think if you can go back to what Ted Turner wanted to build, I think there's a chance. And then it's no longer CNN. It's a rebranding. I'm asking fatal. Like Vice, fatal.
I don't remember saying. Now, Vice went out of business for a lot of reasons, but I mean, if you're talking about like fatal on a controversy, no. Personalities and producers have endured fatal moments. Dan freaking Rather got absolutely kicked to the curb over the George W. Bush story, and it was him, his researcher and producer, who all got together and decided to stretch the facts and spin them to make W look bad, and the fires of hell came back at them, and then the network. Talk about Dan Rather. He was the successor. He was the next big anchor that came after the years of Cronkite.
Well, I mean, Dan was a big deal, is a big deal. History thus far has been kind to him.
He's making a comeback.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's huge.
Dan Rather?
He's huge on digital media.
95 years old.
I know. But I'm saying that he's
a legend in the game.
To Pat's point.
Of course he's a legend, but
To Pat's point about the brand, his brand is strong. Why? Well, the test of time and perspective. CBS threw him under the bus. That happens when it's about you or me in a corporate setting. That's what's happening at the Daily Wire also, is that the corporation has to win. And the way that they win is by shutting Candace down, and they have the right to make that happen, whether or not you think it's right. So he goes down. Now, in terms of whether or not you've ever seen a kill shot to an entire brand, probably not, because they get rid of somebody. They blame somebody. Brian Williams was that at NBC.
MSNBC.
He gets busted, right? For what I wasn't that impressed with, by the way. He just forgot that he was telling a story that wasn't really true. And he had told it so many times that like he forgot that he was telling a story that he had kind of made up.
In the helicopter and live fire. And
right. They wound up.
I saw bodies floating by.
Yeah. And they wind up bringing him back onto MSNBC, rehabilitate him because his buddy wound up being in control. So what's the point? That individuals get taken down. Brands usually exist. To Pat's point, CNN is a huge and valuable brand. Are they
internationally?
Well,
more than domestically.
But and domestically, because let me tell
the right owner needs to own it.
Because let me tell you,
I'm saying currently they're a mess.
But Adam, I asked fatal.
Okay,
right,
fatal.
And as long as people look. Even me, I don't think it's warranted that people have as many strong opinions about me as they do. But as long as they do, there is value to that. If people watch you every week and every time your show is on because they love you, great. If they watch you because they can't wait to see what things are going to make them crazy, good. There's no difference to the value of the brand. CNN, just like MSNBC, just like Fox. People are figuring out the sweet spot in the social dialogue and the cultural chaos to pick their spot. My problem with that is you shouldn't be looking for a lane. The mistake is looking for a lane because you wind up inevitably favoring a side. And then it becomes, who do you want to impress? To Tom's point, who does the Daily Wire want to impress?
Conservatives.
If it's their advertising base, they made the right move. Advertisers don't like this kind of controversy. Now, the problem is the whole reason that Shapiro makes money, the whole reason Candace makes money is controversy. You got to take swings at things that are absurd because look at the comments. Love, hate, it's all feeling. Yep. Nobody says on his laptop, it says facts don't care about your feelings. Please take the sticker off. All you care about is feelings. All you care about is making people, provoking them into a very strong thing. And if that's what you're about, logic is boring.
Yeah, I hope I think sometime when something like this happens,
they'll never debate. By the way, it'll never happen.
You either one, you stick to your guns, and you have to change your approach, who you get your money from, and then you have to go and see who you need to now go get to replace a Candace in a market. I don't know. Okay. 2, then this could lead into even more internal battles with people talking internally who liked a Candace to say, hey, what happened here? Maybe that can happen to me as well. Maybe not. I'm just saying that could be another possibility. But I think, Adam, I see your hand. I'll come to you. I see your hand. So the other possibility is the fact that, you know, if they choose to really go to what they've done well over the years, they didn't get to where they are right now by pure luck.
No.
You don't build Daily Wire by pure luck. I remember first time I was in LA and I went to a studio in Sherman Oaks and him and I sat down, we did something together, and I seen them go from there to where they are now and the kind of eyeballs and subscriptions and things that they've done, What is a Woman, all these different documentaries that they've done. They've built something significant for themselves that they can grow. Every operator makes mistakes. Every business owner makes mistakes. You just can't make the fatal ones. That's the only thing. You can't make the fatal ones. In insurance, compliance could be fatal. Finance, compliance, Enron, Andy Fastow, 100,000. Oh, they'll never go out of business. Boom. You can't make the fatal mistakes. That's the only thing I'm saying. You can in life make a lot of mistakes. You cannot make the fatal ones. The fatal ones sometimes can, completely, especially in the media space, there's, how they say, well, it's a good controversy. There's no such thing as bad controversy. As long as they're talking about us, our brand is getting bigger. Maybe it's true. This could be a case study. In the next 3 years, 5 years, we look back and say, hey, kind of worked out in their favor. Well, or you can look back and say they royally screwed up.
You got your answer, is that their big brains made a decision that the Daily Wire will not die on the hill of defending the IDF. That's not going to be what we're known for. No matter how strong Shapiro is in his faith and the projection of that onto Israel, right? Because they're different things. They're related, obviously, but they're different.
Wait, you're saying the owners say they're not going to die on the hill?
You are not going to. Daily Wire is not going to be known as the IDF defense machine.
You don't think so?
That's why they shut Candace up. If they wanted to be the IDF defense machine, we're all in with Israel. We're taking on the cause.
They would have kept her.
Of course, they'd be debating it right here. They would have had you moderate it. You would have been a perfect choice for them.
Yep.
And he would have been up there and they would have gone all in on saying, okay, you tell me again why Israel is conducting a genocide. And I'm going to slice it like cheese as a poor argument that is just meant to anger people against the Jews. That's what they'd be doing. They're doing the opposite.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Adam, go ahead.
Well, Ben isn't the only personality in the Daily Wire because Matt Walsh has a very different position, more of an isolationist position. Matt Knowles has a different position. They have different positions. So Ben, it does not equal Daily Wire. But I'm going to push back on the CNN thing. Maybe it's not fatal or lethal, but it's, in my opinion, incurable. Why would I say such a thing? It's costly. It's crippling. How do you go from being the number one cable news outlet to number 3 in a matter of a decade? How the hell do you do that? Fox News is now number 1 by far. You have Greg Gutfeld. Greg, no, my apologies. The least funniest late night guy out there, numero uno. Kimmel, Fallon, Colbert, all funny, famous people. 2nd, 3rd, 4th place.
Well, I wouldn't say Colbert's
CNN,
funny, but
funnier than Gutfeld guy.
I mean, apparently not.
So exactly.
What's your point, Adam?
They've been so segmented. So my question to our friend Chris is, how the hell do you save CNN? Who's their lead anchor? What do they stand for? You said the following.
I want to go to the next story. We're at 40 minutes, 45 minutes. But
you said, show me an outlet. Show me your agenda.
I'll tell you at
agenda?
lunch.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're at 45 minutes. I want to go to the next one. We got like 19 stories to go through. But here's what I want to do. What I will say to you, Adam, on the incurable. So here's a question for you. Do you think if Musk buys CNN, it can be saved?
That
Give me
could
the
give him,
percentage.
that could give
Give me
him
the
some life
percentage,
support. 20%.
Okay, fair. Do you think if I don't
because
know.
their crowd is not an Elon Musk fan. Their crowd has skewed so far left. The moderates and the people to the right literally hate CNN. This is one of the most reasonable, moderate men I've ever met, and he's getting skewered by the right wing.
I just think like organized sports teams that go through a terrible mistake that they make with a player or political whatever. You restructure GM, coaches. Like, look, Clippers cannot be saved. They were saved. Clippers were saved because of ownership change, and a new guy came in. And when's the last time we thought about Donald Sterling?
Right.
Forced him to sell it for $2.2 billion. I believe in capitalism, and I believe Daily Wire can make. But I do think there needs to be some changes in management. That's all I'm saying. I think they can do something, but those are tough decisions to make. The board is going to have a hard time having those types of conversations. Some moves you make are fatal. If you don't quickly try to resolve it, it's just going to be taking longer to recover from it. That's all I'm saying. All right. So there's a video I want to show you with Byron Donalds and you that resurfaced that has gone haywire all over the place with COVID. I don't want to play it right now. This video here, everybody retweeted. How come Chris is not responding to this? Why is Chris? And by the way, you and I haven't even talked about this. I haven't even prepped you that I'm showing this video. It's important for the audience to know that this isn't like we sit here, hey, Chris, I'm going to tee you up with this video and say this. Not a single thing about this video. You said something. Rob, when did I text you the video about Byron Donalds?
I can tell you the exact time. It was
Watch this.
9:19 a.m.
The reason why this is important, the reason why that's very important is because you said something. You made me think about the video that a guy texted me this week saying, how come your boy's not responding to this? I said, okay, that's good. Let me just have you respond to it. But before I show it to you, I want to go to our sponsor because Minnect is on fire. And let me give you guys some statistic here. It's very, very important, guys, for you to know this. Guy sends me a message today. I won't give you his name, but I'll tell you the question he asked me. Hey, Patrick, life-changing content, et cetera, et cetera. Anyways, I've become burned out with my life. I'm a structural engineer. I'm starting to have panic attacks and constant anxiety. And I'm thinking about going across country and living abroad. I don't want to live in America right now. And he's sending me a message. Guy does very well for himself. Makes a few $100,000 a year. Doesn't know who to get in contact with. Sometimes these types of questions you can't ask your relatives, you can't ask your family, you can't ask your siblings because they're going to sit there and say, wait, you're going through tough times? Do you know a cold response, Vinny, on email, what percentage of cold email you send to somebody, what percentage of the time people respond? 1%. Do you know on Instagram, it's 3%. Twitter is 3 to 5%. LinkedIn is 8 to 12%. You know what a cold response on Minnect is right now? 91%. And you know what's even better than the 91%? Over 50% of the time, you will get the answer to your question within 24 hours. Why is that important? Because anybody that I want to get a hold of, I don't have a problem saying, hey, man, I value your time. Here's $200. What do you think about this? I'm thinking about raising money on this. Hey, here's $50. I'm going through this issue right now. Here, what do you think about this? Hey, I'm trying to raise some money. What are some 5 things you can tell me about doing this? Hey, my wife and I are going through some challenges. Hey, we're trying to put our kids into private school. What do you think about this? Hey, I'm thinking about leaving my job to start a business. What do you think about this? Minnect has become the top networking app where people get back to you promptly. And the reason why they do is because you show respect for their time by simply saying, hey, I'm willing to pay for a speedy response. By the way, go ahead and Minnect Cuomo on anything he said today you disagree with. Go to Minnect him. Ask him a question. See what kind of answers he gets. The audience loves Cuomo's answers. That's his QR code. Go to his QR code. Ask him a question. Go have a conversation with Vinny or Adam or Sauce and see what kind of response they're giving you. By the way, on top of that, Tulsi Gabbard just crossed 100 Minnect.
Awesome.
And she's responding on Minnect. We even ran a contest right now with Minnect that we're going to be having dinner together here in South Florida at Casa D'Angelo. And then afterwards, we're going to go to the cigar lounge. And here's what the leaders bulletin right now looks like. All you have to do is go to Minnect.com. Rob, if you can go to Minnect.com, just click on the logo, Rob. Just click on, there you go. You go to Minnect.com on the top left, click on the leaders bulletin. Then when you go there, you can see the video to explain the contest. But if you go below, there's different categories. That's the lightweight right now. At the top is Tulsi. Then it's Brandon Davis. Then it's, I can't read it if you can zoom in. What's that name? Santino Testani, okay, at third place. Wow, look at Joanne Gavilan is right behind Santino, 73, and then Gary Wood, 66. Then go to the middleweight, Rob, if you want to go to the middleweight. Middleweight, we have Fernando still at the top with 69. Then you got Parsa, he's about to pass him up, 68. Then you got Michael Mara and Tomo, the rest of the camp. Then if you can go on the right, Rob, you're even there. Is that Rob Gargouille at the 10th spot?
Yeah, the 10th spot
Then
middleweight.
Rob is getting Minnect. Freaking sick. All right, so then we have the heavyweights.
Krishan.
Dustin, boom, 204. Calvin G, 109. Chris, third, 59. Krishan, 48. Then Dennis, Ben Pappas, Aaron Mont. And then we got Sapala, Sapula, or Mario. And I go to home team. Vinny's just dominating everybody.
Vinny's
497, 304, 252. Adams one away from 100, 99. Then go to the bottom for people asking the most questions. You got Eddie at the, he's asking 90. This is a brand new person using Minnect. 93 questions. Terry Hall, 92. Manuel Lopez, 88. Eric, 76 questions being asked. And then go to the right. People that have been on Minnect before. Dustin's asked 229. Wow, Sarujan got 219, Ozzy 197, and then you got the rest of the folks. So go use the app, start Minnecting today, get the answer to your questions. I've learned from a long time ago at 23, 24, 25 years old, I am willing to pay to get the answers now because the right answer to a question I have today, not 6 months from now, not a year from now, not 2 years from now, from the right qualified person can change my life and save me years of headaches. Anyways, download the app, start Minnecting today. Having said that, video I want to show you with Byron Donalds. That went viral this week. Rob, you can pull that up. So this video here is a video, if we can get the date, this is how many, let's see what Chief, can you go back up to see when this video is? This video is from 2021. Let me read it from Chief Nerd. He's great at posting these types of things. Now that you have left CNN, Chris, and started providing more balanced view on COVID vaccines, including the serious harm that can cause, would you be willing to apologize for interviews like this one from 2021? The mainstream media denial of natural immunity, claims that the vaccine would stop infection transmission and complete omission of potential risk, caused great harm in our society. People lost careers, relationships, loved ones, and trust in our institutions due to its harmful propaganda. Your apology would show a lot of courage that, frankly, your peers have lacked. All right, play the clip. It's 2 minutes. Go for it.
Everybody should know that about you, Byron Donald. You are not telling people to get vaccinated. You are not pushing it. You are not saying it's the right choice. You're saying you're not doing it and your family's not doing it, and you're leaving out of the equation that you can make other people sick as if that doesn't matter. Okay?
Chris, did you not just hear my answer 30 seconds ago where I said if you want to be protected from these variants and the original strain, please go get vaccinated? I promote you to do that. I just told you live on your own show that if you want to get vaccinated in America, go do it. But if there are Americans like myself who choose not to, please don't berate me for doing that. That is a personal choice I have made with my own health care. I am allowed to do that. I'm entitled to do
Byron,
that.
You're absolutely right to do it. You have a right to do it. Two different statements. Okay? Do you have the right? Of course, nobody's debating that except you guys as a false choice. What I'm saying is it right to do it? Have you spoken to a doctor? You're supposed to be a leader. Have you talked to the CDC and the people who are in Florida at the Department of Health about whether or not they think you made a good choice? Because if your answer is just then, well, I don't care what they say. This is me. I'm an American. That is being dumb as a proxy for being bold. And I don't think it's a good message because remember, it's not just you protecting yourself.
Let me say this.
It's you protecting me and other people from you. That's why you get vaccinated, not just for yourself. Important distinction. Go ahead.
Actually, the way vaccines work are to protect yourself. A vaccine that basically gives you a special cocoon where you actually limit the worst harmful effects of the virus itself or may not get it altogether depending on your own personal physiology. So that's the way vaccines work. Now, to me personally, I did talk to a couple of doctors that I know about it. I told them I already had it and I'm 42. What do you think? And they said, yeah, you're fine. If that's what you want to do, go ahead and do it. They didn't come and say, no, you have to do it because of everybody else. Because if other people want to be protected protected, they have access to vaccines. Go get the vaccine. I would never tell anybody not to get vaccinated. I do totally support it if that's what somebody chooses to do.
Byron, I'm with you.
I don't know why this is hard. It's that simple.
Oh, listen, I totally agree with you. It is very simple. I think you're making it hard because you're seeing some kind of righteousness and a choice to do something that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But again, that's your right. What I'm saying is something else. You're wrong about how vaccines work. You're only giving part of the prophylaxis, okay? The other aspect to why you take the vaccine is it also reduces, not completely, nothing is perfect, and certainly this vaccine is not, but it also reduces your ability to communicate the virus and make other people infected. That part matters too.
Okay. Not us resurfacing. We've had conversations. We've talked about COVID. Tom and I are talking about the long vaccine and what that's doing. A lot of my friends are going through it. And
long COVID.
Not long vaccine, forgive me. Long COVID. A lot of friends are talking about it. We're 40, 50. You know, you're sitting there saying, hey, what the hell is going on in my body? What's changed from that conversation with you and Byron to where you are today?
Well, a lot has changed, and a lot needs to change that hasn't. Here's what matters to me about the clip. Apology? Of course not. Byron Donalds comes on my show now, okay? Why? Exchange of respect. Was never personal. I believe as a leader at that time, you had a duty to be thorough in what you were putting out there as opposed to just playing politics, okay? This was never as simple as vaccine good, vaccine bad. Politics made it that. And it put us into a toxic environment, no pun intended, where even today, there's no curiosity about the vaccine. You get a VAERS system, which is very imperfect, and you don't have robust government dialogue or investigation of the vaccine. You don't have political investigation of what happened during the pandemic, what was right, what was wrong, to Vinny's point about what's still continuing, about who wants to control what. Because they only see politics. They only see advantage. My concern is that the unknowns are now more dangerous than the knowns. So what's changed since then? I don't have long vaccine. People are saying I've admitted long vaccine.
Oh, okay.
People are saying I've admitted that the vaccine hurt me. I have not admitted that. I don't know that. Do I now believe that we have data to support the fact that there are thousands of people who have had adverse effects that are not getting attention, let alone treatment? Yes. And I fault government for that. I do have what they call long COVID. Now, I say they call because the government, you know, it's funny. After that clip, I got called by government people bitching at me because I said that the vaccine wasn't perfect. So that's where we were then. That's where we were then. But they say, hey, Chris, easy on the long COVID. We don't know that it's a thing. We don't know. We're still trying to figure it out. It could be other things, autoimmune. So I'm saying my doctors say I have long COVID. I have the symptoms. They showed me my blood work, scared the bejesus out of me to see this glowing micro clot stuff that they see in my blood. That it really shook me up. So I'm doing all the protocols. My doctor, Terrain Health, they're an international consortium because they have to do it themselves because the government's not giving them any guidance. The vaccine is a really important conversation that's being ignored. I do not fault myself for telling people at the time what the government was giving us as best practices. People say, but your job is to question. On what basis? The basis of questioning early on was because I say so. Because you don't get to tell me what to do and not do. Fine, I say. You are right. I said it then. However, you can't expect to be everywhere and do everything that the government is controlling because you're not going to. Your kids aren't going to be able to be in school, just like is true today in terms of what your state's vaccine protocol is. That was my point. What this guy and others want me to do is to say, I was wrong, the vaccine is bad. I'm not going to say that. The data is overwhelming that when the vaccine entered our population, the people going into the hospital with very serious or eventually terminal cases was reduced. Now, at what cost and why? We don't know. Am I open to that? Yes. If I were a propagandist, I wouldn't be doing the reporting that I'm doing right now. I started a Substack that is only about this, where I am letting you see what my doctor is saying and what we're doing on my own dime, because I believe in it. I'll tell you something else that's going to get you a lot of hits. I am taking a, what do they call it? Like a regular dose, whatever. They're trying to build up of ivermectin. Ivermectin was a boogeyman early on in COVID.
You couldn't talk about it.
That was wrong. We were given bad information about ivermectin. The real question is why? Everyone's going to say Joe Rogan was right. No, Joe Rogan was saying, yeah, he was right. But that's not what matters. What matters is the entire clinical community knew that ivermectin couldn't hurt you. They knew it, Patrick. I know they knew it. How do I know? Because now I'm doing nothing but talking to these clinicians who at the time were overwhelmed by COVID, and they weren't saying anything. Not that they were hiding anything, but it's cheap, it's not owned by anybody, and it's used as an antimicrobial, antiviral in all of these different ways, and has been for a long time.
For malaria for over almost 20 years.
Yeah. So, and my doctor, who is now my doctor, was using it during COVID on her family and on patients, and it was working for them. So they were wrong to play scared on that. Didn't know that at the time. Know it now. Admit it now. Reporting on it now. Because I think that's the job. The idea that, well, you were a vaccine proponent. Why wouldn't I have been a vaccine proponent? Now there are questions. Oh, no, but I knew at the time. No, you didn't. What you knew was that there were people telling you to be resistant to what the government was telling you to do. That's fine. But I think for Byron Donalds and for other leaders, that's not the standard. The standard is, what is the basis of you telling people it's okay if you don't take it? And I felt that he didn't have a good basis. It was, well, I'm playing politics, and on the right, there's a growing thing. The only thing I've ever seen Trump booed for by his base is what? I think you should take the vaccine. But nobody judges Trump for it, interestingly.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
So, no, I fully agree with you there. And I think that there's a part of Trump's base that goes to RFK because of him saying that. So I think that's the part that that team needs to be careful every time they brag about vaccine, because RFK wins every time he does that.
Right. And you know what RFK says? When you say to him, are you anti the vaccine?
He says no.
No.
Yeah.
But nobody's chasing him.
However, wait a minute. But however, he'll tell you the fact that the first case of autism was in 1943, right after we increased the amount of vaccine dosages we're taking, and how many people we have now. Used to be 1 out of 5,000. He'll give you that data. But I want to ask you a question. My challenge was the following. My challenge was, okay, vaccine's here, take it. I'm like, how much research have we done on the COVID vaccine? No, it's good. We're ready. Take it. I'm like, bro, I'm not ready to take it right now. I want to see a little bit more to see what's going to happen to people, right? Okay. So say 2026, COVID 2.0 shows up, okay, from another lab in China, whatever. They release it, okay? Because Trump's president, and they're sick of it, and they want him out ASAP, and it worked last time, let's do it again. Okay,
Who's
they
they?
release it. Whoever they is, okay? Whoever they is, China, whoever we want to talk about, right? COVID comes out. Now we have 5.5 years, almost 6 years of experiencing with vaccine, and we know the research and the results. You're working at wherever you're working at the time. Let's just say you're doing cable with Tunes Nation, okay?
I'm at VT, baby.
You're at VT,
What's
that's
up,
right?
baby?
But you're talking COVID vaccine 2026.
Yeah.
Would you be as staunch supporter of people taking a vaccine like you were in that clip with Byron?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Because we know more now.
I agree.
And most importantly, what I know now.
Right.
And I'm telling you, look, I'm not going to betray all my sources because that's the way my job works. But I promise you, if you believe nothing else about me, nobody has less cover of ignorance about what was happening during COVID and the pandemic than I do. I was looped in with everyone, the people who created the antibodies. I was talking on a regular basis, NIH, the head of Operation Warp Speed, the head of the vaccinology. I was talking to these people all the time, okay? Why? Because I was known for going through the illness. What has changed? They now know that they have questions to answer which they are refusing to answer. The first thing I would do, if God forbid there were another pandemic, which, by the way,
they're warning us. They're telling us it's coming.
This would be the first thing. I don't want to move off where this came from. and who made it and how it is. I'm not moving off. I don't care how many cases are spreading. We know how to deal with that, and we know it's going to be incomplete. We know we're going to have problems. Once the virus is going to beat us. So we know that. So let's not panic about that. Where did it come from? Why did China do this? I don't believe that it came from a wet market. So now let's flip it. Now you prove to me that it was benign, that it was innocent. Let's stay on that. Let's not do what Trump did for good, bad reason, no reason, which was China good, China good. They're doing great. They're working with us. Love China. To China bad, China virus. What changed? His very keen sense of advantage. That I need a bad guy because I said this was going to go away and now it's spreading like wildfire. Can't be on me, although I'm the president and the buck's supposed to stop here. Let me find a bad guy. China. I say, fine. You want them to be the bad guy. Stay on it. That's the first thing that I would do that I haven't done. The second thing I would do is what I'm doing right now. Every time I have somebody on who is involved with the government, and I can't get anybody at the NIH now. I can get Tony Fauci on the phone. They want to make him a boogeyman. Tony Fauci goes over every piece of research that I say that I send to him and tells me, I think you should go this way. I think you should. The stuff that came out from the New York Times. All right. Tony won't be upset at me for betraying this confidence. I say, I think there are enough people out here that they should be asking questions. He says, well, the analysis gets stuck on, well, every vaccine has side effects. So in terms of how the system works, they're not curious. Because, well, every vaccine has side effects. And by percentage, given how many people we gave this vaccine, we're doing pretty good. So they're not curious. I am curious. And not just because I'm sick, because I had my symptoms that they're calling long COVID now before I got vaccinated. So I don't know that it's the vaccine, but I know that there's enough to know that there should be a 9/11 commission style review of what happened during the pandemic, because we screwed up everything. Yeah. Everything was screwed up. Now, people want to seize on the vaccine, and they'll accuse me of word salad and not wanting to go back. I have no reason. I wish it were as simple as me saying, Pat, I was wrong. We have all these facts now about the vaccine that I should have been saying at the time.
Do you think you were spooked by your peers at CNN and your bosses?
I've never been spooked.
But you know what? Okay, so let me ask this other question. Do you think if you and I all of a sudden get this desire to go want to go party with ravers for 90 days, every day, okay? I don't know why, but let's just say it happens. And every day they're doing ecstasy and coke. And we're with them 24/7 for 90 days. How long before we were tempted to do cocaine and ecstasy?
I think I'm tempted before you. You probably slap me in the side of the head, which is why I don't do it.
Yeah, but the point is, we're both at one point going to be like. So the point I'm trying to make to you is, do you think there was an element
of groupthink?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's what people want to hear, because I think, it was kind of like, what do you guys, what are we saying here with? Yeah, this thing's going to, Rachel Maddow, the highlights. I don't want to play the highlight reel. You've seen it many times that goes viral. Oh, it's going to prevent you from actually getting
she had it wrong.
Then boom, boom, boom.
She had
boom,
it wrong.
Boom.
People put up clips of me all the time.
Dude, but Fox got sued $800 million for freaking Dominion. How much did CNN, MSNBC get sued?
This is different. There's a material difference, okay? What Fox got jammed up for was knowing something wasn't the way that they were reporting it, but continuing to report it that way for advantage.
You're saying the people at MSNBC, ABC, CBS, CNN didn't know that some of this stuff was real?
I'm saying that the media would love to take new information and use it to hang the government's position. I mean, the media loves doing that.
Right.
So if we had found out during the time that, hey, they actually don't know how this technology works in this vaccine, we would have gone crazy on it, because the media feeds on accountability, especially when it's low-hanging fruit. What I'm saying is, was there groupthink? Yes, because we didn't have a reason to be suspicious. The Reagan trust but verify. There's no data. oh, but we've never had this vaccine before. That's not true. They were saying the reason Operation Warp Speed happened so fast is, one, Trump made it happen fast. He removed, obstacles, bureaucratic obstacles, right? Everybody was praising him for it. And that's one thing I want people to remember. You want to come at me, come at me. That's why I'm here. But you do not go after your people the way that you go after me for the same things, even if they had much more responsibility for what was going on than I would ever have. I'm a journalist. I wasn't creating policy. But Warp Speed happened really fast because they also knew the technology and they'd been playing with it for so long. And they were able to get it done. Now, have they had the right level, the requisite level of curiosity going forward? No. And how do we know? Because the recommendations of how often you have to be vaccinated. Have you noticed how quiet it's gotten?
Yeah.
That they're not pushing the booster.
Listen, you just defended Fauci, and then you threw Trump under the bus indirectly, and you said, the buck stops with you. You're trying to find a boogeyman to blame China, and then at the same time, I don't think he was pro-China, because to say he's pro-China, he gave more tariffs to China than anybody else. Every other day he was
on
giving
COVID,
them
he was praising them early on.
No, but he wasn't. The position he had with China was always a person that he kept at a distance like this by giving him tariffs. So he wasn't like friendly.
That's on the business trade side. I'm saying on COVID early on. You could just Google it. Early on, he was saying they're being so cooperative. This is great. China's being great. Then it spread like wildfire.
Then he shuts down China from traveling in.
He tried
and then
to.
Nancy Pelosi goes and says this guy goes to Chinatown.
Calm down. Don't listen to him. Don't listen
and
to
then
him.
Anthony Fauci.
But he was wrong. She was wrong.
Was Fauci
She
wrong?
was way more wrong
Fauci
than
was
Trump.
wrong a ton. They were all wrong.
Okay, we're okay
because
with-
they were making
Yeah.
guesses. And also, but let's just be, let's just call it straight. Science is not politics. There should have never been white coats forward-facing the American people and telling us what to do and not do. These were political judgments. And here's why it doesn't work. They're saying it's here. It's on the table. Everybody's cleaning everything. There are all these cleaning teams cleaning everything.
social
There's all
distancing
this
was
money,
bullshit. They made
right?
that up.
It was like bed bugs times a million. Now they realize it's aerosolized and they change it. Everybody on the right uses it as a sword and says, oh, you can't believe them. They changed their story. That's science. They learned something different about how the virus is communicated.
Bro, they use guilt like no other ex-girlfriends or people have used on you. The guilt they used on you was 100 times more powerful than a Middle Eastern mother uses on their kids. That was a level of guilt you'll never see. It was unbelievable. I was put in the weirdest situations where the amount of animosity it created, the position you had. How could you're okay with your grandmother dying?
Yeah.
You're okay with your dad dying? You're okay with this? I'm like, dude, just stop with this nonsense guilt approach. And you know what it did?
I don't have any, I understand why you were upset at that, but I wasn't doing that.
I'm not saying you.
I was talking to Byron about his role as a leader with why he was messaging what he was. Look, if people didn't want to wear masks, I said, all right, fine, then don't wear the mask.
Yeah.
But understand, they're going to jam you up. I got jammed up from coming back from a run without a mask on when I walked into my building, and somebody called the New York Post. And they say, you're a hypocrite. No, I'm not a hypocrite. I was taking a run, go in, and I said, you got a choice to make. I haven't had all the boosters. Why? Because my doctor said, you keep getting this thing. We're looking at your blood work. You have so many antibodies that we don't know what the vaccine would do for you as opposed to you. So don't take it. That's what my doctor said.
Can I say something here? Tom, we'll follow up on this. Do you have anything you want to say about this, Tom, or no? You look like you want to say something.
Yeah, history gives everybody ability to look back, but
Why did your voice change? Your voice changed a little bit. I want the main Tom voice.
Bring Tom back.
Give me the sexy.
the Barry White.
Baby, come back.
I think history allows you to go back and do a lot of things, but at the time, it was pretty shrill and it was panicked, and I believe that the media was shrill and panicked and towing the line that was there. And yes, you can say it was science and science came forward, but you also had people coming and posting papers that were very cogent saying, look, the fastest vaccine prior to this for something like this ever was the mumps, and it took this long. Well, this is different. We have mRNA technology, and we know all this. But there was so much that we didn't know. And there were clotting. There was data about people that were suffering clotting very quickly. And so for the scientists that wanted to say, hey, it's just science. It's not on the table. Now it's aerosol. Now we know. Those same scientists were not looking at some of the things and side effects that were happening to people very immediately. And they didn't want that science because the narrative was locked down. And I think it was really shrill. And I think history gives us the ability to go back and look at it, but I think history also gives us an opportunity to go back and look at it and saying, if it happened again right now, I'm not doing this and I'm not doing that.
But I mean, Fauci, and I know, Chris, I mean, you're cool with him. I personally don't like him at all. I've had videos I've sent Rob a long time ago, him sitting in an interview saying, laughing, masks don't work. In a pandemic, it might stop a droplet, it doesn't work. 2 months later, wear a mask. Everybody mask. He's wearing a mask throwing out the first pitch, outdoors by himself on the mound, and then he changes
in sunlight,
and then he goes 3, and then he goes put 3 on. And I also think when it comes to a big network, was Pfizer advertiser for CNN?
I don't know.
Whoever was selling this drug, the vaccine, I'm pretty sure they have meetings with the higher up saying, hey, listen, we're selling this vaccine. Tell everybody it's good and it's cool. Because me personally, Chris, I have high blood pressure. I guarantee you, if I had the vaccine, I'd be in really bad shape right now, and I'd probably die. I know it in my heart of hearts, and they tried to push it on me. They tried to tell me, people in Los Angeles were like, you're the problem. They're like, I'm dead serious. Somebody told me, terrorism, we don't give a shit about that. It's people like you. Like, I was the threat to people. Thank God I didn't listen. Thank God I was patient, because I'm like, how can we trust the science when there hasn't been enough time to test it out?
They go on what they know at the time. Look, my only beef with this is, I agree with what Vinny's saying, although, look, you can't know what happens, you have the vaccine or not. But I understand why you're playing careful about it, because you have an existing condition.
Yeah.
You're worried about it. I get it. And Tom, of course, hindsight is 20/20. Surprise, surprise. What I'm saying is this. I have no problem with people criticizing what was done. Just be across the board about it. You show me Fox News putting out a different level of concern than CBS was, or CNN, or whatever your boogeyman is. Show me. You will not. Show me Republican lawmakers in positions of prominence saying, I know that Ron Paul. Find him, the big contrarian, right?
Rand Paul.
Rand Paul, sorry.
Yeah,
Rand
son.
Paul. Ron is the father.
Yep.
Rand Paul.
Yep.
Show me him saying, no, here it is. Here's the proof. It was never overt like that. So don't use it as a political cudgel. If you want to look back and say, you guys all pushed X, Y, and Z too much, and one of those is the vaccine, okay. Am I able to agree with that now? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know enough about the data. I know the politics. I know well enough politically to say now that the vaccine is unpopular. But show me Sean Hannity. Show me Bill O'Reilly. Show me Ben Shapiro. Show me Tucker Carlson at that time saying, no way, never, never, never. That's why Joe Rogan blew up. Why did Joe Rogan blow up in the mainstream media sphere?
Ivermectin.
Because he became the face of what was seen as irrational resistance. Now, was that fair to Joe? Well, yeah, it made him a huge star. But was it fair on ivermectin? No, it was not fair. In my opinion, other people will disagree. No, that wasn't fair. And that should have been part of our common practice to see if it could help or not. It wouldn't help everybody, but maybe it would have helped. On the vaccine, was it fair? Yeah, because at the time, he didn't have a recognized basis for resistance other than to play to an emotion that was out there. Oh, yeah, but he wound up being right. Listen, just because it winds up coming out that way doesn't mean that you knew anything or that you were right to be pushing it that way. Now, see, here's my concern. All these people are upset. But where are you now about pushing for the answers? about pushing for government to review this, about them telling you what the statistics are and what they are.
But Chris, we can't even talk about it here because if we say certain words, just like I got a strike for even mentioning it, because these are facts. Cancer up, turbo cancer up, people dying at a younger age up, people dropping dead. I saw this video and it's out there. Died suddenly. Pat, I think you showed it to me. They're embalming these people. They're cutting them open and they're pulling out white calamari strands out of people's arms. And like you said, and I get where you're coming, but we can't talk about it. And during this pandemic, which the biggest problem was, Chris, during the pandemic, they silenced two of the main doctors, and one of them was a Robert Malone, who started the mRNA. Like everybody silenced this guy, and it's like if I make Fiji water, I'm the maker of Fiji water, and all of a sudden they start having problems with Fiji water, and people are dying, and I want to talk about it, and you silence the Fiji water guy. That's a problem.
You know what I love?
I agree with that.
Well, I think people have a problem with two things: the hypocrisy and the accountability.
Yeah.
My body, my choice. What the hell happened with that? My body, my choice. Abortion. It's the biggest issue that lost Republicans.
Except
the midterm elections. All of a sudden,
but what
mandate,
happens,
you lose your job, you lose your business.
But it's
and then accountability, and I refuse to back off this. Like you said, China, what the hell? You started on it, and then we just pivoted to science got political. It's so divisive. China.
Right.
What the F?
Yeah, and here's the answer. If there's no clear advantage, the people in power don't play that game. They can't make China and the Wuhan lab story, they can't really make Biden own it on the right. They can't. It started when it wasn't on his watch. Yeah. Well, he hasn't been curious about it. Well, but neither were you. So that's why they don't talk about it.
But
and on the left, they don't want to talk about it.
Why do they need to politically make anyone own it? It's on China.
It's
not on Trump.
Yeah,
it's not on Biden. It's on China.
I know, but here's the thing, okay? Why are you guys successful, okay? People are waking up to the fact that the politics is a game that is between two teams that only care about what matters to them. And as people are waking up to the game, they want people to expose the game and oppose the game. Enter valuetainment, okay? That's why they're not figuring out the lab. There's no advantage to one side over the other. That's why they're not talking about the vaccine, because there's no clear advantage. By the way, that's why we're not fighting fentanyl in this country, is because one party can't say, you brought fentanyl in. You're the real reason. That's why they're letting it kill everybody. We're in the same place with the vaccine.
But why does it need to be political?
You know who's reporting on the increase in all of these net mortality things? Me. You won't see a story about it anywhere else on any of the big media platforms. I'm doing it with my doctor, who's afraid to talk about it because she's afraid that she'll have people come after her practice. But she's doing it anyway because she cares. So if I were part of some conspiracy to have people be sick, I would not be reporting on these things. No, I wouldn't even be telling you that I am sick.
I think a part of one, people can say whatever they want to say. If a person's willing to have a conversation with me, I respect it. Tubin, say whatever you want about the guy. He said he was a sport. We talked. You can say anything you want about anybody. If they're willing to sit there and have a conversation, you have to have respect for the fact that they're willing to have that exchange. I agree. Because that's what we didn't have during COVID. And anybody that's willing to do it today, salute to you. I think Rogan, the comments about Rogan was the one that was willing to question at all costs. And by the way, if Rogan wasn't at Spotify and Daniel Ek didn't have his back, they would have canceled him the minute they could have canceled him. They wanted to destroy that guy like you wouldn't believe. They wanted to get rid of him. One of the smartest moves he ever made is go to Spotify. And when he went to Spotify, he only put up short clips on YouTube. Yeah. He wasn't doing all this stuff. Now everything is back. But I'm willing to bet that one of the reasons why he renewed his contract with Spotify is because the way they defended him when everybody else was trying to trash him. And he realized it's very hard to find people like this that are going to back somebody up.
I agree, but I was worried about them when they made him take things of his comedy profile down. I was worried when he went to Spotify. Worried. I don't even know him. But I'm saying there is a freedom that you have right now that if valuetainment were acquired, you would no longer have. Witness the Candace Owens situation with Ben Shapiro, right? The corporation is always going to protect itself. I think that you're right. You know more about the situation than I do. That net, Spotify wound up being a net positive for Joe, but I was worried when they were looking back and said, oh, these things were kind of racist in your comedy act. Take those down.
Yeah.
They won't be on Spotify. I was worried about that. And certainly during the pandemic, again, I'm not feeling sorry for myself on any level. I'm a very fortunate guy as media goes. But I got so much heat during the pandemic for both sidesing situations. And that's because, but that's the job. But here's why people don't do it that much. Because you do get shit on. Because you do get heat from everybody else. And that's why I say, not that there's a right and a wrong, but go back and show me Fox News or anyone, Tucker, anybody, reporting it differently at the time. You won't find it. Oh, yeah, that's because everybody was on. That's right. So if everybody was operating under the same set of assumptions, well, then who do you decide to blame for having an agenda? Who do you say was just a victim of the dynamic?
I only have one pushback. Everyone should have a little bit of grace to be able to evolve and say, look, in March or in April, dude, I had no clue, including Donald Trump. But 3 years later, 4 years later, still doubling down on your positions. Vaccine, 100% success rate, 99%, then it's 90, then it's 80, then it's 50. Then they're like, it kind of works. There's still people basically not willing to acknowledge that they effed up royally.
Well, we know why. Because even this guy, Chef Nerd or whatever he is, who puts up the clip, people would really appreciate it if you, that's bull. Listen, you apologize for something, you're a dead man, okay? In our current culture, what we believe and what we teach our kids and how we live our lives as friends, that doesn't exist in our media or our political culture. That's nonsense.
Which is trash.
If Bobby Kennedy Jr., could say what he'd really want to say, he would say that his position on vaccines has totally evolved. But he ain't going to say that because the media will kill him because they want him out. Because he's going to deter, if he stays in and gets on the ballots, he's going to determine the presidential election. So the media wants him out.
He will.
The Democrats want him out, and now increasingly, the Republicans want him out.
Yep.
And if he were to apologize for anything, he's a dead man. We say that you should apologize. We say that there's grace. There is no grace. There is only advantage. Should there be grace? 100%. That's the way we live our personal lives. But professionally, the same people that come at me do the things that they come at me for.
I think that's the one thing with fame, right? Fame will say, okay, you don't want fame and the accolades and stuff that comes with it. Don't go get it. Go live a small life. Hey, I don't like the fact that Stephen A. Smith comes after me. I'm LeBron James. You can't talk to me like that. Bro, you should have never gone to the NBA.
Right.
Just right after high school, just go and work at Five Guys or go be a lawyer or go do something else that you're not going to. Fame brings that. And with fame, if one is expecting grace with fame,
doesn't happen.
We're delusional.
Right.
And I used to think that used to exist, but it does not. And by the way, the first time around you get fame, you act in a different way than the second and the third, and then you realize, bro, relax, pump the brakes. So sometimes you have to just it's almost good that you go through fall early with fame because most people have no clue how to handle it the first time. It's not an easy thing to do. But you said something about RFK, that they're going after RFK. Story comes out, Rob. If you can pull up that clip while I'm reading the story, I'll come to you. So Donald Trump refuses to debate RFK, says he is not a serious candidate, okay? And former President Donald Trump, is there a video of this, by the way, that you have? Why don't you just play that clip and then go into the video with RFK that's been going viral the last couple days? Go for it.
Question? Would you debate RFK Jr.? RFK, I don't know anything about him. Look, RFK is polling very low.
Never heard of him.
David Duke. Right. Not a serious candidate. They say he hurts Biden. I don't know who he hurts. He might hurt me. I don't know. But he has very low numbers, certainly not numbers that he can debate with. And he's got to get his numbers up a lot higher before he's credible. But the numbers that he's taken away, they say will be against Biden. I don't know. I'm not so sure. It could be a little bit against me, but I don't see him as a factor.
Okay, so then that's his comments yesterday. Yesterday, this clip, Marjorie Taylor Greene, we should be courageously protecting our children from genital mutilation. I have a bill that just does that, Protect Children's Innocence Act, and President Trump protects our kids. This is MAGA War Room. RFK says he's okay with minors receiving sex change surgeries. Play the clip real quick, Rob. It's 40 seconds.
I know this guy.
As a president, to get this nonsense out, to prevent kids under the age of 18, with or without the consent of the father, to transition. You may even say that is an okay policy you're a part of that many families disagree with. One, what's your position on this, and what will you do as a president?
I mean, my position is that people should not be able to have access to those procedures, that minors shouldn't, without parental permission. And, you know, I don't know enough about it, Patrick, to say that it should be completely illegal. For
under 18?
No. Yeah, I just don't know enough. What I'm going to tell you.
Okay, so on the bottom, I want to read. Go on that clip, Rob. Go on the clip, like click on the clip, right. On the bottom, there's a detailed description that says this was 4 months ago and his position has changed in 4 months. And you know how community notes write it? I'll show you which one. I'll text it to you here in a minute. But so thoughts on, you know, Trump saying that, and on the same day, all of these videos trying to show who he's all about is coming out. Is this the way of trying to get him out and, you know, get him to drop out of the race? What do you think is going on with the RFK
If he gets on all the ballots, there is a better chance that Bobby Kennedy Jr.
That's one. If I can read this here. Libs of TikTok. Go below, Rob. That's the one that says, this interview is 4 months old. I don't know what that is. That's community notes. He has since changed his views and no longer supports it, just so you know. So they put the community notes. Go ahead.
And he'll say that. And first of all, he's getting killed for changing his position. That's my point to Adam about grace and the lack thereof. Any smart person should be open to two things, okay? One, being wrong, right? And two, change based on that. But no, not in our culture. He changed his position. That's why these guys and these women hold on to stupid positions just because it's better than the alternative. If he stays in the race and he gets on all 50 ballots, or just really he gets on 35 ballots, you know, the states that matter and matter a little bit less, he will have a bigger role in determining the outcome of the election than anything else.
100%.
So, but is Trump wrong? No. Right now, Trump is not wrong. Where he is polling on all of the national polls and the polls, he does not warrant being on a debate stage. I agree with that. But why? Because we are stuck in a game that is controlled by two parties, and everybody knows you can't get in if you're not on one of those two teams. So he is set up to fail. It is rigged, to use Trump's word. Now, do I like his answer? No. Because if he wants to chase Biden and say, you know, you're afraid of me, he doesn't want to stand next to Bobby, despite Bobby's voice, because he knows he can only lose. And that's why he doesn't want to do it, which is fine. But don't say it's because he's not serious. It's because you know there's no upside for you. That's why you don't want to stand next to the guy. But if he gets on all the ballots, and look, I'm getting a lot of heat. I'm not a Bobby Kennedy Jr. supporter. I've known him a long time. My brother was married to his sister. I don't know that he is qualified to be president. If I had to give an answer, I would say, of course, he is not, because he has never done anything like what that job is. But if he's in and getting support, how do I justify not having him on? Well, you don't have Jill Stein on. Well, that's because she has nowhere near the resonance that he does.
Yeah.
So we're just talking about Bobby. You shouldn't have him on. He's not relevant. That's just demonstrably false. So why are they chasing me? Because they are threatened by him. And the media is doing a lot of the work for them on that.
Chris, percentage-wise, what are the odds of him getting on all 50? Like, if you had to guess.
On the ballots?
Yeah.
If you ask Bobby, 100% that he gets on.
Yeah.
Me, I say at best 50-50.
Okay.
Why? Because, again, and someday I'll be dead, but someday people will say, you know, that Chooch was right about this. The parties control the election process, not in the Constitution, not by law, by tradition. But all the players are in the parties, so they're okay with allowing them to have an artificial influence. You can't get on the ballot when I have a team of lawyers up your hiney like a hemorrhoid, challenging every signature, dragging you into court again and again. And that's what I don't know the effect of. Like, how effective will they be in keeping him off ballots that he is not on now?
I would say that he is the most. I think Donald Trump is dead wrong on this with respect to President Trump. I think he is the most viable third-party candidate we've seen
since Perot.
Who got specifically what, 19%, 20%?
Determined the election.
In 92.
Won the election.
He single-handedly gave Bill Clinton a landslide. I think the Electoral College, because not the popular vote, it's the Electoral College that counts 370. You need 270 to win. 370 to 168 blowout. That's winning by like 30 points in an NBA game. He blew out the incumbent George H.W. Bush. Unbelievable. He got 0 electoral votes. I think it was the first viable third-party candidate since 1912, Woodrow Wilson. He's polling at 10 to 15%. 19% swung the election in the Democratic fashion. If you poll right now, since Joe Biden's State of the Union, when he was yelling at everybody, and the Supreme Court justices basically
up on steroids,
kind of were like, yeah, we're not playing this game. The approval, if you look at the polls, Trump was up 5%, especially in swing states. It's a dead heat at this point, and it will remain a dead heat.
It's a dead heat.
Because every election.
A third party
but when you
generally,
throw in RFK,
then
Trump goes from, no. Trump goes from +2 to -2. He's pulling more, pulling more from Trump supporters than Biden supporters.
This is one.
That's the reality.
This is one poll. They just had the key states polls 2 weeks ago, and the opposite was true. What does that tell you?
Polls don't work.
You have a very thin. Well, they're moments. They're snapshots of a moment at best.
Yeah.
A third party candidate, traditionally, historically, works against the incumbent. Why? Because they are an other. They are, we want different than them. So it should work against Biden. What complicates the analysis here is that some of Bobby's strength plays to Trump's base. So it's a little bit of a confused picture. That's why they're both starting to come after him. Donald Trump has no reason to take that question. Would you debate Bobby Kennedy? All he had to do was this. Next.
Yeah. Whatever.
That's all he had to do.
Can we at least agree Trump and Biden want Kennedy out of this thing?
Yeah, I mean,
of course.
Unless
we can
one
agree
of them
differently.
knows
We can agree differently.
that he helps him. You know what I'm saying? Like if somebody were to show a stack of paper to the former president that he believed that this is good for you having this guy, he'd be talking about Bobby Kennedy every 5 minutes.
He's got a good point because neither side wants him in. Both of them want him out. Like, if you knew it's going to favor, you're going to be like, no, he should have a place in their station. You know, this is America and a democracy, and if the voters want him, neither side is saying that, which means none of them want him.
So, Pat, if he's
both thinks he's going to hurt them.
So if he doesn't, Pat, if he doesn't run and he's done, where are those would-be Kennedy voters going? That's my question. Are they going to Biden or are they going to Trump?
No, they're going to Trump. There's no question about it.
Because I don't even know how it's that close. Just the general election.
So VP, right? The VP discussion right now. Well, it's going to be Tim Scott because he's going to be able to bring the black vote and oh, it's going to be Christine. Well, no, she doesn't like dogs, so she's out. No, it's going to be it's going to be Byron Donalds. It's going to be this. It's going to be that. It's going to be Vivek. It's going to be DeSantis. It's going to be Rubio. It's going to be
Tulsi. Everybody.
Okay, so if you look at even North Dakota and South Dakota. Both of them are in the game. Like, who would have ever thought that there's VP? Look at this. Look, go back to what you just showed.
Doug Burgum.
Doug Burgum is now number 2.
That's my guy.
For VP, right?
Let's get him, Doug.
Come on, Dougie.
Now, the reason why here, if Trump is seeing Kennedy as a concern, there's only one person that fixes that on that list, and it's Tulsi.
Yeah.
Only one.
Yeah.
If RFK is the votes you want, only one of these guys gets the RFK vote. Now, Chris thinks Haley would be a good selection because, and again, I don't want to put words in your mouth. You can correct me here, because and I think we talked about this last time. Yeah. Chris suggested maybe Haley could be a good choice strategically. That would piss off MAGA, but I think Tulsi is RFK. And remember, RFK considered Tulsi as a VP. Story came out and Tulsi said no, probably, for whatever reason.
She told me on my show she would serve with Trump.
Nice. She would serve with Trump. Yes, she would serve with Trump. Yeah.
If not VP, what do you think she'd be on the cabinet?
No, she was talking about as VP.
As VP. Yeah. I think the main thing is him as. It's so weird, in my opinion, and I'm not a political strategist or anything like that. I'm just a business guy that's thinking about it from the strategy standpoint. this isn't about you beating Biden in 2024. This is about you winning independent and libertarian voters. Mm-hmm. Tim Scott's not going to get you that. None of these guys are going to get you that. There's only one candidate on that list that's going to get you that.
Tulsi.
Only. If the question is only qualified if you believe you're not going up against Biden, you're going up against the independent voters that you need. That RFK says it's the biggest ever voter block, 43%. There's only 1% that's going to bring that for you, it's Tulsi. My opinion.
I'm still shocked. Does it shock you guys, though, that still 46% are voting for Biden? As if something positive has happened in the past 3.5. And I get there's loyalty to party, Chris, which I don't believe that there are parties. I believe it's a uniparty. They're all on the same team. They have us thinking that it's like wrestling. When you watch a wrestling match, they're beating the shit out of each other. Backstage, they're kissing each other's asses and eating dinners with each other.
There is a game, but they are voting for Biden for one reason more than anything.
Not Trump.
Absolutely.
That's so stupid, though.
Except, but you want to hear, look, how stupid is all of it, though, Vinny? What would you have ever bet? You know, your act, as good as it is, if I were like, hey, I got a great joke for you, that we're going to do a joke that you would vote for a guy even if he were convicted of major crimes. Oh, no, let's keep it in the realm. We are living a reality right now that is such crazy sauce that people will tell you they'll vote for Trump no matter what he does. He could pull a Kristi Noem. He could start walking around blowing away puppies, you know, like they were terrorists.
People will still vote for him.
Still
shooting people on Fifth Avenue.
Yeah. That's right.
But
still vote for him. What does that tell you? That we are really in the depths of a crazy situation.
I agree.
All right,
I agree.
Let's go to the next story. Next story, let's have some fun. Rob, can you pull up some of the clips from the greatest roast of all time? By the way, ESPN just posted this, which is hilarious. Actually, they posted a day ago, but I just saw it right now. Randy Moss and the roast said to Tom Brady, "Why the F didn't we cheat when I was there?" It's so funny. 17-0. You have to start off with the great Tony Hinchcliffe. Just watch this guy. Unfreaking believable talent. How he owns the stage. Go ahead, Rob.
Tom is afraid of the Giants, which is why Kevin Hart is hosting tonight. All night, he's been using the stool that Aaron Hernandez kicked out from under himself. Kevin is so small that when his ancestors picked cotton, they called it deadlifting. Tom Brady is a patriot, which is surprising considering he looks like a Confederate fag. Clearly, your ex-wife takes after you. I hear she's out there draining balls right now. People love you, Tom. You have the same fan base as Kyle Rittenhouse. Gronk, I'm happy you could take a break from writing Santa letters to be here today. I knew you were here when we were all out of chocolate milk backstage. You look like the final boss in George Floyd, the video game. Jeff is so Jewish, he only watches football for the coin toss. Nikki has such a bad eating disorder, the industry keeps shoving her down our throat. You might recognize her from her podcast appearances, specials, and winning the Triple Crown at Churchill Downs. You might recognize Kevin as the jockey that rode her. And that's Churchill Downs, the racetrack, not to be confused with what Jeff Ross looks like when he smokes a cigar. Sam J, an obese African-American lesbian. So by having here, Netflix checked off a lot of boxes. Andrew Schultz, I'm glad you took a break from watching YouTube videos on how to dap up black dudes correctly. Schultz's mom is a professional ballroom dancer, which means she's a stripper that talks too much. Bert Kreischer is a king. He looks like if the Tiger King and the Liver King only ate Burger King and had a liver that looked like Martin Luther King got beat up by Rodney King. And how about the appearance from the great Ron Burgundy, huh? A whale's vagina, which reminds me, Kim Kardashian's here. She's had a lot of black men celebrate in her end zone. Kim, word of advice, close your legs. You have more public beef than Kendrick and Drake. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Netflix.
She's wearing her cross for protection. Oh,
by the way, what was that? And play Kim's if you could. This is Kim up there. Go for it.
Well,
a lot of booze.
Yeah, because they're awake.
I know a lot of people make fun of your height.
Yeah, good for you.
All right.
Good.
All right.
Yes. People know that you're trash.
I think she looks great.
You think so?
All right, Kevin.
Yeah.
She's trash, bro. Go, you want me?
Oh, did you see how the joke finished, though?
No.
I don't know if you can finish it. She said, a lot of people make fun of your height. But what they also don't know is that you're very mean. making you the smallest black dick I've ever seen. So it was a good joke.
Yeah, but I'm happy that the people get it. Her claim for fame was what?
Having the sex tape, yeah.
And hold on.
20 years ago.
No, Adam, I don't care if it was 50 years ago. Why is she a top A-list? Dude, she needs freaking Secret Service security when she's out. How is she famous? And Barbara Walters said the best. She's like, none of you have any talent. Why are you famous? Because you
don't need talent to be famous these days, Vinny.
And guess what, though?
Just like you don't.
And then I don't have to respect you, and I'm happy when people boo, and I'm sick and tired of little moms letting their daughters go, I look up to Kim Kardashian. Why? Because she blows guys on video? She's disgusting, bro. She's a disgusting.
I'm not defending Kim.
Yeah, no.
But that's the reality we're living in.
Our reality sucks.
We're in the attention economy. Eyeballs equals money. There it is.
Yeah.
That self-explains where we are in society today.
Yeah, and ready for
it's why people watch Jake Paul fight more than actual boxers.
Yeah, well, yeah, but
it's the same reason.
This is a different story. When your mother brokers the deal for your sex tape and goes, no, she's blowing him better in that one. Sell that one and not that one. The hell with boxing. That is disgusting. And she's, what would you put in the most famous people on the planet? Top, recognizable faces.
I mean, look at her Q score. She's a top 10 person. But 10. It's not just her. It's her sister. It's Chloe.
Disgusting.
It's this one.
Disgusting.
It's this one. It's this one.
Whores.
They're
billionaires.
About the roast of Tom Brady.
I'm sorry. I'm just disgusted by these people.
This went from Tom Brady to, what did you think about the roast of Tom Brady?
I thought it was great television. Mm-hmm. I thought there was so much about it that was fascinating. I agree with you. That guy is one of the most viciously brilliant guys I've seen in a long time.
Hinchcliffe.
Oh, Tony's
I would never go anywhere near that guy. He is so smart. And he has such a sophistication of nasty. But there was 10 different reasons to love the special. From Brady's reaction to what mattered to him and didn't, the interplay of the different people. This guy who's going to be the new Maniscalco, if people, can get over the being offended by what he says part. I thought it was the best of its kind. I can't remember the last time I enjoyed a Friars kind of roast the way I did this one. I hope they can somehow repeat it. You know what I mean? That we can see more of them. I thought it was awesome.
You know how the only way it happens like that, Chris? If it stays on something like Netflix. This can't live on a Comedy Central or network.
Did you hear what Dana White said?
Yeah,
pull up Dana White.
Dana was one of my favorites because he's a good actor.
Yeah, pull up Dana White's. And Dana White is the shortest out of all of them. Here, I'm going to share it with you, Rob. It's literally 19 seconds, but he crushes it. Check your text.
I love how angry he is. I love it.
How many seconds is it? Let me see. Yeah, just play that whole thing. Play the whole thing. It's worth it. Watch this.
Dana.
Not my thing, so I'm going to keep this short like Gronk's bus. Actually, let me get into this real quick. It pisses me off. I flew all the way out here, and you guys give me 60 seconds?
Yeah.
My name is Dana. Is that not trans enough for you liberal fucks? No. All right. Awesome. Tom, you played for the Patriots for so long that I was actually starting to feel like you were from Boston. Then I saw you run, and I was like, no, he's definitely from San Francisco. You led the league for 20 years in passing as a straight guy.
That's funny.
Come on. That was a good one.
That was a good one.
Hey, I got two of the baddest dudes in the world here right now. Sugar Sean O'Malley.
Oh, wow.
And Max Holloway. Tom, you would have been a great fighter. You're already the master of the ground and pound. That's what you call coffee dates with your boyfriend, Alex Guerrero.
Holy shit.
One more thing. You people probably don't know this, but Jeff Ross was very interested in the UFC. He thought it meant unlimited fried chicken. I love you, Tom.
Dana White, ladies and gentlemen.
So there were so many storylines the stars came out to this. Here's just a quick list of the people that I saw speak. Kevin Hart, Kim Kardashian, Will Ferrell, Dana White, Ben Affleck, Bill Belichick, Gronk, who's the owner? Robert Kraft, Peyton Manning, Ben Affleck, like the list. Andrew Schultz, our boy.
Ben Affleck was angry. Did you see Ben Affleck?
Yeah, he was angry.
He was angry about it.
He probably got into an argument with J-Lo.
Oh, that's 100%.
Highlights for me, the Kevin Hart got Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft to come up and take a shot together. He just got fired by Robert Kraft.
Notice, Belichick didn't drink it, whatever it was. I never saw him drink it.
He didn't. Oh, he probably didn't.
No, Robert drank, but Bill is like...
Bill didn't drink it?
I didn't see him play it.
Oh, Robert's banging hookers. He's down.
Somebody said about massage.
You saw Tom, there was one thing he got upset about when Jeff Ross said, how's the massage?
Really get upset about?
No, he literally got out of his seat and he goes, don't do that shit again.
But was that a joke or...
No, that was serious.
Did you think that was serious?
No.
I thought it was so...
But you could be right. I could be wrong.
Super serious.
Robert, we can't hit... Yeah, there you go. Audio.
I want to say... this is the greatest coach in the history of the game that did what no one else has done. And having
just fired
Tom
him,
Brady and him was the greatest honor the good Lord gave me. So,
They're not looking at each other in the eyes.
He doesn't do it.
No, okay.
He didn't drink it.
I don't know.
Hassan Minaj.
No, he drank it.
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
A black man made it happen. Two other storylines. Everyone, I mean, the easiest, most straightforward joke is Gronk is basically educationally challenged. I almost use the R word there. But me, want real money, a.k.a. crypto. He made fun of Tom Brady, paying him in crypto. Even Peyton Manning doubled down on that. But you got to give it to Tom. The Giselle jokes were flying left and right. Nikki Glaser was like, Tom's has 7 rings. Well, 8 if you count
the one that
the ring that
back.
Giselle gave back. And then even at the end, his final coup de grace was said, been a great sport. A lot of jokes tonight. The truth is, I miss the love of my life, football. So
brilliant.
Brilliant. Someone made a joke about, it was Nikki Glaser. She said, the biggest mistake you made was allowing Giselle to learn jiu-jitsu because she basically divorced him and now she's banging the Brazilian jiu-jitsu instructor.
Yeah.
But shout out to Tom Brady. What a sport.
Oh, and just think about it. All around comedy, finally, they let it come back.
Yeah.
Everybody got crapped on equally. Nobody was like, hey, racist, hey, trans, hey, whatever. And Tony Hinchcliffe is the modern day Don Rickles. He doesn't give a damn.
Good.
He's raw.
You're bringing up Don Rickles. Yeah. This format was pioneered by Dean Martin.
Mm-hmm. And they talked about that.
Dean Martin's Celebrity Roast. They pioneered it when they had to keep it PG rated on television, and it was fantastic. And the humor that's best is the humor that is subtle, and the humor that is
true.
Because
when it's true,
correct.
It's funny because it's true.
It doesn't have to be.
Kevin
sexual.
Hart is short.
It doesn't have to be
Gronk
sexual. It doesn't have to be profane. And Brady himself saying
Kim Kardashian is a hoe.
Right. Yeah. But Brady, I appreciated. I was watching a highlight and what he said about Gronk. He said Gronk was useful on the field, although the bar for the Patriots tight end was pretty low. Block, catch, don't murder.
Don't murder.
Oh my God.
And Aaron Hernandez reference, yes.
And so
went over people's heads.
I love the roast, and I love the ones that were subtle, that hit on truth. The best comedy is always in truth.
Yeah.
The potty humor and everything's going to come with it. But I thought it was a great format, and I thought it was really good television.
It is good news that you can be offended, and it's not a cause of action.
Yeah.
I love that.
I think that's what. And look, some people won't want to say that, especially in the media, because it seems like that you're not respecting that there is a vulnerability to a lot of these groups that are targeted. But that's life.
Yeah.
And what have we learned as a culture? When you squash everybody for saying things, does it make those things go away? Mm-hmm. No. It actually makes them all worse and felt more deeply.
Would you do a roast if people came to roast?
Oh, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
100%.
Well, Cuomo has a little S&M thing.
Chris said something very interesting about offense.
Well,
I'll tell you this, and PBD, I want to hear what you say. I say it's not racist if you make fun of everybody. shout out to Andrew Schultz. He's one of the greats. I mean, he's up there. I don't know what he said. I don't know if you saw his positions.
I spoke to him yesterday.
What was your favorite part of this?
Of what?
Of the roast, yeah.
Oh, to me, it's Hinchcliffe.
Really?
Honestly, I thought Hinchcliffe was freaking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me with his timing and the way he did it and cool and collected on stage? I thought he was on fire, what he did. Everybody else was good. A lot of funny moments. Hinchcliffe is here. Everybody else was here.
Would you allow him to do a roast of you?
Of course. Yeah, of course. No problem. There's an element of this. Stephen A. said it best. He says, look, no matter what we talk about here, we have to respect the fact that Brady approved this.
Yes.
Because Brady is... You know, he is the guy that if you remember one thing about Brady's interviews, what were Brady's post-game interviews? It was, yes, you got to give them a lot of respect. They're a very strong opponent, and they always come prepared. Their defense, they're coached well. Their ownership team, everybody's, well, we just have to go back to the drawing board, and we have to improve. We got areas. If you play every game that he's ever played, and you were to put an outline of what percentage of the time he gave the answer I gave you, 80% of the time, that's the answer.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want to give the media anything to come back. So he's always played it super safe with, you know, even when I think one time they found a MAGA hat in his locker room or whatever. Do you remember that when they found the MAGA hat in the locker room? And that's the reference the guy made to Kyle Rittenhouse or whatever he said. So where is it where... that one right there. We're zooming in.
When he had to say Trump is my friend, he was admitting that he committed a crime.
Right. So then after that, it's kind of like, look, I'm just going to play this. So for him to agree to do this, I think you got to give him credit and props to him. It was funny as hell.
You know who you also got to give credit to? Because before this, because this is going down as one of the greatest roasts, Donald Trump did a roast. You got to give him credit.
Snoop.
He showed up.
It ain't
that
the
was
first
Comedy
time
Central.
you kicked a black man out of his house.
But look at how...
Talking about Obama.
Yeah. Look at how politicized... Yeah, it was amazing. Look at how
Snoop came up saying good things about Trump just a couple months ago.
But look how politicized we've come as a country. What year was the Donald Trump roast? I'm guessing 10 years ago.
11.
March 15,
Okay.
2011.
All right.
Wow.
Now he won't even show up to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. You've probably been to that.
Yep.
I got invited.
I won't go either.
Really?
But for very different reasons.
But Biden shows up, Trump won't go because it's so left politically. And that's where we are. So thank God that they can take a joke here on Netflix.
Yeah,
It was nice to see. It was nice to see an event where people that were kind of offending each other and poking at each other, that it doesn't result in cancellations.
Yes.
A week ago, and it went by.
Yet.
One of the greatest comedies of all time turned 50 years old, and that was Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
And the quote that was attributed to Mel
Black
Brooks
Sheriff.
was, "I wasn't worried about offending anyone because the purpose was to offend everyone."
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I saw Carol O'Connor. Remember
Black
him?
Sheriff.
Archie Bunker was Carol O'Connor.
Yeah.
And
Archie!
It was an old interview of him, and I had gotten involved with him a little bit towards the end of his life because he became a huge advocate against drug addiction because of what happened with his son. And the guy says, well, you played one of the signature characters of all time, a lovable bigot. And he kind of winced and said, no, I don't think Archie was a lovable bigot. I think that he was an obvious character that exists in our society. And you're able to laugh at what he says, but you're usually laughing at him for saying it. And he said, I really hope we never get afraid of that. And we did.
Wow.
It hasn't been enough until maybe, I don't want to put too much on this special, but until this special, you had to be careful in recent years what you found funny. And I've watched this, because I've been living in the crucible of the cultural change. I had no idea when I said on Good Morning America many years ago, there was a transgender male who wound up being pregnant. And it was treated way too fairly as a scientific mystery. And I remember being on set and, in retrospect, stupidly saying, what do you mean, when can a man have a woman? It's, baby, it's when you're a woman.
Yeah.
This is a biological woman. That's why she's pregnant. because she has a uterus, right?
Yeah.
And there was quiet on the set. Conversation moved on, went. And this was a decade ago, over. And I remember watching the shift to, you don't get to say things even if they're obvious. If they're going to be offensive, be careful. I called Prince Harry. I said, well, they call him the Spare, right? Mm-hmm. I got crushed. Now, what is his book called? The Spare. He's always been called the Spare. You have to be able to be offended without it being a cause of action. It only makes everything worse. And that's what's happening in our culture.
Yeah.
All of the things we wanted to protect against have gotten worse.
Cuomo, food for thought. Ready?
Please.
You're talking about All in the Family, Archie Bunker. Who was the creator of that?
Norman Lear. He just passed.
He just passed in December. Why do I know this? Because I actually watched the basically documentary on Norman Lear. So here's the question. Are race relations worse now in America, or were they worse in the 70s on the heels of the 68 riots, MLK assassination, right after the Civil Rights Act? I would argue that it's potentially worse now because of cancel culture. Why the hell would I say that? What were the biggest shows of Norman Lear? All in the Family, which is based on the Jeffersons, George Jefferson, Sanford and Sons, Red Fox. What you talking about, Wheezy? Right, with George Jefferson, the most famous.
I can't
scene
let
ever.
you in, Esther.
That's
Why?
right.
You're too ugly.
Exactly. The most famous scene, just to tell you, to give you a little perspective of where we are in 2024 versus 1972. The culmination of whatever year this was in the 70s, George Jefferson, moving on up to the east side, came to visit Archie Bunker's house. You remember this? Most famous scene ever, because I'm a big sitcom guy. Archie Bunker, white racist. George Jefferson, black businessman. They won't talk to each other. They won't shake hands. The wives are, come on, Georgie. There it is right there. They started going back and forth. You racist. You a Negro. You a cracker. You a honky. You a dead honky. Boom. Like, this was in the 70s. That wouldn't be allowed today.
No way.
50 years later. How effing ridiculous.
But maybe
is that?
we're coming back to it being allowed. You remember Richard Pryor with Chevy Chase on Saturday Night Live doing the job interview?
Oh, God. That's
Where,
one of the big
I have a little Rorschach.
Sanford and Son, where he's in traffic court, where he says, hey, how come you only pull over black people to this white cop? And the white cop says, well, that's not true. And he goes, what are you talking about? You have enough N-words in here to make a Tarzan movie. And everybody in the courtroom goes crazy. The audience goes crazy. It was obviously ad-libbed.
Yeah.
Red Fox, as a black man, would be dragged if he did that today. He'd be in some weird apology mode for making a joke. I'm hoping that we're getting out of it.
I think we will.
I think so.
I think bad ideas eventually fail and get exposed.
So.
I want to talk business here, Tom. We got 30 minutes and a few stories to go through here. Here's one of them. I do want to talk about the campus in a minute, so hang tight for that. And by the way, everybody that's watching this, if you heard the exchange with Chris on the COVID or anything, you got questions for him, just Minnect him right there. That's his QR code.
So you guys are coming at me on Minnect, and the answer is yes. And if you want to do videos, if you think that you have points that I'm missing, bring them to me. And, you guys are queuing up. That's fine. I'm going to answer all of them right after the podcast. I'll go one at a time. So bring it on. That's why I'm here.
There you go.
Let's get it.
Fantastic. April jobs report shows cooling market, which should please the Fed. This is a Forbes story. April's job report reveals a cooling trend in the labor market with 175 new positions added, falling below both economists' forecast of 240,000. Last month's figure revised of 315,000, while healthcare saw significant growth, plus 56,000. Other sectors like leisure and hospitality and government expanded more slowly. Wage growth slowed to 2.4% annually, and unemployment ticked up to 3.9%, with labor force participation remaining at 62.7%. Analysts perceive this cooling as favorable, providing relief for the Federal Reserve amidst inflation concerns. The report underscores the necessity of sustainability productivity growth with a rate of 2% offsets a 4% wage, potentially mitigating inflationary pressures associated with rising wages. Tom.
Let me translate this for you. Here's the headline, America. If you got a good job right now that you think is a pretty good company, you got a pretty good boss, keep it and be thankful for it, and be thankful for good people around you that you've got a good job. And I'll tell you why. This April jobs report, we're reading something from Forbes, and the Forbes writers here are always kind of funny. I love to read Forbes writer in the jobs report because they seem to think that the footnotes are some sort of a decoration and not something to be read. Whereas the footnotes pointed out that the amount of full-time jobs are dropping. And the jobs report, they say, we created jobs. You need to be asking what kind of jobs. Part-time jobs have been created at a higher rate and more of them since August of 2023. So we're coming up. I mean, we can almost see August 2024 here. It's mid-May now. That'll be, if we get to August, that'll be 1 full year that we've created more part-time jobs every month than full-time jobs, which gets kind of scary. So why is this good for inflation? Well, if there are fewer jobs out there for people to get, there's fewer competition for the jobs, then the wages don't go up because you don't have fewer workers competing for a job. And so the one worker wants a job says, well, I need 25 an hour, not 23 an hour. And the employer says, okay, I'll give you 25 an hour instead of 23. And then they raise the price of their product $1, and that's inflation. So what you have right here is if you got a great job, keep the job, because what's going on in the market right now is the jobs report is showing softness in the economy, fewer good full-time jobs, more people with second jobs and side hustles are happening. And by the way, the jobs report, the government is admitting that they are not capturing a lot of cash-only side hustles, and they're not capturing a lot of 1099 side hustles, like when your mom takes the SUV and goes driving Uber for the weekend.
What does this mean with interest rates lowering this year? Does this mean anything? Does it take you from 1 to 2 to 3, or are you still on the 1?
This makes the Fed happy because it means that jobs and wages aren't pushing inflation. And remember, the Fed said inflation has to get down toward 2% before I'll think about making a rate cut, which consensus is we're going to have 1 rate cut, and the target that everybody's looking at is September. So this makes the Fed say, hey, maybe I will make that 1 rate cut in September, because what the Fed doesn't want to see is inflation. And if jobs get too hot the other way, it creates inflation where the Fed will say, nope, not cutting rates.
How many people are you getting messages of right now, Tom, that are talking to you about, how do I create a secondary income side hustle? I have 2 jobs, I have 3 jobs. Are you getting a lot of people saying that today?
Yes, I am. On Minnect, I'll tell you what I got yesterday. Yesterday on Minnect, and I referred one of them to an HR expert that's also on Minnect. I like to refer to other people. There's a great crowd on Minnect, and he was asking about positioning himself for a sales position in a different industry, because the industry he was in was having layoffs and cooling, and he thought that he had the technical understanding and the ability to learn quick that he could go to another industry, and he wanted to know what I thought about it. I gave him an answer, referred him to another career expert, but I'm getting a lot of job transition questions, job fit questions, and I'm starting up a side hustle. What do you think of this? Questions. I'm getting a lot of them.
I was going to add to that. Just because it's an election year, I just want to circle it back to why it's so important. And here's why I think Trump is the favorite to win the election. In my opinion, the 3 most pressing issues in America, Trump is winning 2-1. What are they? It's the economy, stupid. James Carville, resoundingly, he's up 20% in the polls of that Trump is a better candidate on the economy, jobs, creation, inflation. That's number 1. Number 2, immigration, the border, which basically ties into national security and terrorism at this point. Trump is up on that. But number 3, which is the biggest issue for Democrats, especially females, is women's health care and abortion. That's the only issue that Biden is actually winning on. So Trump, if the economy and immigration are the 2 biggest factors, is the favorite to win the election.
So Trump would be a landslide if he just came out and was like, hey, ladies, just kill him. Kill. Go, feel free to kill babies. Go ahead. Go for it. Even post-pregnancy, go for it. He'd be the landslide winner.
Ironically, yes.
Yeah, women be like, he's cool. It's ridiculous.
We need better leaders. Biden versus Trump is proof that the system is broken. Who is going to win the election is who caters to outrage the most closest to the election. We are addicted to outrage. Most people now here is what makes me wrong. I'm talking about our social media existence. Our social media existence is not about engagement. It's about enragement. That's what it is.
I like that.
You have to make people enraged and then they get engaged. But here is the X factor. That is not reality. Our social media reality is not the reality of the American people. Most people are not online and enraged. They are watching the enragement and they are puzzled by it. And they are desperate for something better. But the people in the game are paying more attention to that social media reality than the ultimate reality, which is why Bobby Kennedy Jr. is resonating. Because people want something different. They're desperate for different. The people online mostly are conditioned by outrage. You think Trump wins an outrage election because he is the ultimate agent of animus, right? Unless the outrage is directed to what he represents to the democracy. And then maybe you wind up having a Biden victory. I see it as you're going to have to watch this election all the way up until the end to know who's going to win more than any I've ever covered before. Yeah. And I knew that Trump was winning against Clinton a month out because because of what I'm saying. Those rallies, I know the numbers weren't enough of each one, but they were proof of what was happening in the country in general. And social media is not reality. It's not. It's a reflection of an exaggerated reality. And he was winning across the country in terms of what people wanted in that moment. Now, I don't know. I'm going to have to watch this. Forget about October surprise. It's going to be November surprise.
Yeah.
I appreciate you
it's
saying
going to be
that
the last minute to see who's going to win?
I think it's going to be... Bobby, I got to see. I got to see how many ballots he's on and what his numbers are as we get late into the summer and into the fall. Yeah. But right now, it could come down to what happens in the Middle East or somewhere in the country on November 1st.
Yeah, but because when you say the system is broken, I think you have one point of view of why it's broken because of the candidates, but I think the system is broken because if you, from Trump from the beginning, from Russian collusion hoax, like he won fair and square, if we're going to be honest with each other. Russian collusion, the BS impeachments, the criminal cases that's going on, COVID coming from China randomly, which we still can't point the finger for some crazy reason. We don't know where this thing came from. I think it's broken because they have been consistently going after this guy, and they didn't give him a fair shake. So now it has become a broken system because of that. I don't think it's broken because of the candidate, that candidate. I think it's broken because, as we've seen from started with Hillary, from the fake dossier to everything that we are right now, if they just let the guy lead, we would not be in the situation that we are in right now, which is a disaster from all fronts. And for all those Trump-hating losers, he'd be leaving in November. If you just let the guy be the mean tweet guy, orange, whatever Cheeto you guys want to call him, we would have been in great shape. I don't care. None of this would have been happening. And you Trump haters out there, you BS talkers, he would have been gone. You would have wiped your hands with him. But now he's coming back. Hope to God he comes back. And guess what? He should have a little bit of anger and clean house.
You know who made that case? Except for the last part?
Yeah.
Clinton.
What did he say?
When Clinton was being raked over the coals about Monica Lewinsky, and that's when Hillary came up with the right-wing conspiracy line, right?
Yeah.
It was the exact same dynamic as you're outlining with Trump, that they were twisting the system to keep Clinton from leading because they hated that he won, and if they just leave him alone, everything would be fine. It was the exact same dynamic. And what that points to is you're right. It's not just the person. It's the parties. Yep. This is the only dynamic the parties can produce.
Let me show you guys a complete different video here, off topic of this. And I'm going to go into the last couple stories. We've got 18 minutes. I saw this video. I almost couldn't believe it. This video was shared by Gays Against Groomers. I don't know if you're familiar with them. We've had them on before.
Yeah.
Rob, if you can go back and show the Twitter account so people can see it. So Gays Against Groomers, at the top, we had, I think it was Frank Rodriguez that we had on. What was his first name? Am I saying correctly? Yeah.
Frank the Tank.
So watch this here. He is talking to a grandma about her 6 and 8-year-old, okay? You just got to, I don't know if you've seen this or not. Watch this video, Vinny. I want to get a sincere reaction.
This is real.
This is real. Watch this. Go.
Okay. Are your granddaughters?
They are 6 and 8.
Would you support them to get hormone blockers to become the other gender?
I would absolutely support them to get hormone blockers. The idea of one of my granddaughters learning that they're going to start having their period if they don't get their hormones blocked, even though they're identifying and portraying as a male. How horrible that would be. So yes, definitely.
If your granddaughter came to you and wanted to get a tattoo, what would you say?
That would be more difficult. I always told my 3 sons the one thing I ask is please don't get tattoos.
Really? Why tattoos?
There's just something so permanent about it.
This is mind-blowing.
Oh, and a hormone blocker is a day and a half.
Okay,
like a hangover.
Rewind a little
That's
bit.
not real.
Press it. Go ahead, Rob. So first thing I said, I don't know if this is real or not. Go ahead, Rob.
I ask is please don't get tattoos.
Really? Why tattoos?
There's just something so permanent about it.
Permanent?
It's pretty permanent. It's very difficult to get them lasered off or removed.
You don't think it's like permanent to change your gender?
It's a Curb Your Enthusiasm moment right there.
That is delusional. This woman is the greatest actress in the world. Because you can't do all those facial reactions that good.
No.
And you've never heard of this person before. She should be in Hollywood, right?
Oh my!
But if this thing is real,
she's like, wait, listen,
unfortunately,
listen.
In 2024, delusional grandma is real.
Oh.
The fact that in the same sentence, cognitive dissonance, tattoos are permanent. What about your son's dick?
Chop it off.
What about little Scotty's dick? It's unbelievable. I actually think this is real. Do you guys think it's real or not?
100%. Now that dude, she can't be that good of an actress. We've never seen her. Have you ever seen her even in a commercial? She's real.
Tom, what do you think about this?
I think it's one thing comes to mind. Grandparents, spoil your grandkids, give them anything they want, right? I mean, that's kind of a cliche about it, right? It says the revenge of the grandparents is to spoil the grandkids. I think if this is real, it just shows that the woman asking the question was brilliant because it shows the conflict, the ludicrous conflict that's in the middle of this woman's mind that she doesn't even reconcile or maybe even recognize herself. And I think that's the tragedy.
I think,
Chris, as a parent.
Chris, you're right?
Nope. As a parent, what, Pat?
What do you think about this?
That she hasn't given enough thought to what she's saying. She's going with what feels right to her. Maybe it's coming from a good place of wanting to love the grandkids and wanting them, as Tom says, to be happy. But there is a nonchalance, look, in our culture about accommodation that we're now, this issue just really highlights it with what's okay for kids to do. We've been battling with this on a long time. Look, the kids at Columbia Law School saying we can't take our exams, we're too traumatized. That would have been unthinkable for me when I was in law school. The whole thing they're teaching you in law school is how to deal with the crucible of stress and pressure and outcomes because it's such an unforgiving thing. But we are now in a thing where everything's okay. And if you tell me that it's not okay, I'm going to cancel you.
Yeah.
Because you're judging me. So you get into a point of, so should you let your child, right? I won't let my child decide what we're eating. Okay?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if Cha-Cha says, our 14-year-old, oh, well, I just want this and I don't like what it is. I say, yeah, well, that's not what's going to happen. So you don't have to eat, but you're not eating that. But I would let her make a medical decision for herself. Let alone one that is absolutely permanent. You start messing with their hormones. What do you think is going to happen? We're all our hormones. That's all we are. That's all your personality and disposition is chemical. And you're going to start messing with it because they want to? I think it's crazy.
How old do you think that lady is? How old do you think that lady is?
80 years old.
77, so late 70s.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think she's always believed that?
No.
But this has to be new to her.
Okay, so then this is the question. Do you think she's always believed that? Like the hormone blockers and everything?
I think she may not have ever really thought about what she's saying.
Okay.
And just defaults to different positions.
And Chris, if you were to take a position of which political party is normalizing this, which one would it be?
The Democratic Party.
The Democratic Party.
They are erring on the side of inclusion. And then you have this hypocritical bend, which is we're all about inclusion, except people who don't agree. And if you don't agree, then we want to exclude you.
Yeah.
So we're about inclusion with trans, fine. With people who want to be trans, okay. With children who want to do things to themselves that they may come to regret, also known as the detransitioning problem. Okay, we're okay with all of that. But what about the people who don't agree with those things? No, you're excluded.
Yeah.
You're bad. And so there's a hypocrisy on its face, but it's absolutely that party, and that's what Biden's handcuffs are.
And not only is it inclusion, I would argue that the base, which is typically liberal women, don't want to offend, but they are totally comfortable with offending the patriarchy, traditional values, straight white men.
The View.
And I would argue the following. I don't believe that women should be able to sit there like The View or The Real and have just a show with all women. Why would I say such a thing? Because women, you're too nice. You're too agreeable.
Accepting.
You're too accepting. You don't want to offend. You don't want to push back. It's the reason that women will tell you, yeah, Lizzo, you look great. She's 400 pounds, bro.
Yeah, live queen.
Live queen. You're a 10.
Oh, did you hear?
You're a 10.
Jillian Michaels would tell her that she's overweight. It depends
You
on
can
the
name
woman.
like one or two women that would do that, but most women are too agreeable. But we know that men operate in hierarchical standards. We understand who's the boss leader. He's the CEO. Get in line. Follow your position. Women are more egalitarian. That's why they just fall for the Marxist, Leninist, collectivist mentality. So women won't call out other women, but men will. And that's the problem with what's going on the left.
Did you see?
Is you can be whatever you want, just don't offend anybody. Bullshit.
Did you see that the guy that's going around on TikTok and he goes and interviews people and says, so, what do you think about Lizzo? And the girls say, I think she's beautiful.
Yeah, of course.
And then she says, you look just like her.
Yes.
Why would you say that? And it's like, I thought you said Lizzo's beautiful.
Yeah.
So it's freaking hilarious. Did you get that? Like what these kids are doing. Do you think Lizzo's beautiful? She's gorgeous. She's
You remind me of her.
You remind me of her.
What the?
Do you know the most viral clip of me and that is me doing that to her?
Saying she looks
Natalia.
like.
I'm like, you're like, yeah, Lizzo. Oh yeah. I'm like, well, you look just like her. Don't do that. Yeah. What do you mean? She's beautiful. You just said she's beautiful.
Yeah.
Sos, don't do that. Because they don't want to say, bitch, you need to lose 100 pounds.
Yeah.
They don't want to say that, but when you throw it in them, they're like, oh, now I'm wearing this.
Doesn't help with
It is what it
So
is.
I want to go to the next one. I'm going to go to the next one, Rob. If you can pull up the clip with the story of Ryan Garcia and Conor McGregor, which is kind of interesting. So zoom in a little bit. Ryan Garcia and Conor McGregor exchange words. Go to the left. You can swipe to the right. Right there, the arrow. There you go. So here's Conor's tweet. Cheated the weight and was juiced. Lifetime ban. Sad to see, sad to say. Sad and a bit sick. Don't come near me. If I ever see you, Ryan Garcia, I'm actually disgusted. The Austrian it reminds me of a Sean O'Malley. Was on that as well. I don't like this. I'll bust you both up. So do yours. Want to spar? I'll set up the fight right now for you both for a full-on spar each. Hotel Black Forge in the lot. And then he goes on to say the two Austrian heads, I'll ride you both like yours and ostriches. Well, WTF is up. What do you think you are at? If I was Haney's dad, you're dead, no matter what, for doing that. Crazy. What the F happened to you, you little tool? Get your head together because I'm going to smash it in with the elbows. If you don't, fair play, Devin. Well done. Your performance has just become even more heroic. Bravo. Get your head together. And then go to the next one. So
He's
Ryan
drunk.
responds.
He's drunk, Pat.
Hashtag roid rage.
Yeah, drunk.
If I see Conor McGregor, I'm going to break your weak-ass ankle. You ran from being tested because you were on roids. Roadhouse on roid rage. Fudge Conor, Gaga brain. Okay, go next. And then they continue. Bare knuckle. Let's effing go, Conor. Winner gets your trash-ass whiskey brand. What do you think about this exchange between the two? Like, specifically, where did Conor come out of saying this to Ryan?
Well, first of all, he got what he wanted, right? We're talking about him again. He's relevant.
But do you think
again.
they're doing this because they want to kind of set up a fight between the two? Like
no,
the cash
or fight between. I mean, his fight's coming up with Chandler.
No.
Anything to get a buzz behind Conor.
Eyeballs.
You nailed it,
attention,
Chris.
names, clickbait. That's what this is.
Yeah.
These two guys are never going to fight. They're not in the same weight class. Conor McGregor would never do steroids, right, Conor?
Oh, we already talked about
what's going on
his
here.
His head has gotten. Yeah. He's a different human being. But the fight is coming up. This is starting up the.
Why would he say that?
I
bought because Ryan's shine,
big.
his star has never been brighter.
Yeah,
than
right now.
this month.
Ryan's huge.
I mean, he admitted on the podcast you guys did. He did it all for the views, the attention economy.
Yeah.
I mean, are you kidding me, Connor?
Yeah. Well, PBD, you called it.
Go to Barry Bonds. What Barry Bonds looks like.
You punch up. He's not going to. Who else? He's not going to go.
Is there a bigger name in UFC history than Conor McGregor?
No, not Tim. Well,
is there a bigger name in boxing right now than Ryan?
Go to the third picture to the left, Rob. Bottom, middle, left. Faces. The two faces to the left.
Up, right, left, right there. Come on, that's another human being.
Yeah, and go to Barry Bonds. If you want to look at the, arguably the greatest baseball player of all time.
That has to be like a growth hormone something, bro. That's his head. I said this months ago. It's huge.
This is the pot calling the kettle black.
Specific.
Roids make your head grow?
Not roids.
Yes.
No, growth hormone. Your bones grow.
Does, yeah.
Your bones start to grow. Their jawline starts to grow.
PBD, what do you think about it?
And 1.5 cleats.
Is this good for Ryan? Is this bad for Ryan?
I don't know.
Yes.
I think we still don't know, right? When typically guys get tested for this, what do they say? I didn't do it. There's no way it's me. They made a mistake. It's somebody else. It's my dealer's fault. It's the step. If you can probably go to a website and say, hey, ChatGPT, what should be my 10 response in order when people accuse me of this, and they can give you the format, right?
Number one, the Shaggy defense. It wasn't me.
Yeah. But at the same time, to me, look, whether it is or not, and he did or he did not, I mean, he didn't win the belt. Haney still has the belt, right? Because if he's got the belt, is that, did you really just do that, Rob? You're joking. Let me see what you typed in. Zoom in a little. So, what should be my response if I'm accused of using steroids? If you're accused of using steroids and you're innocent, it's important to respond calmly and confidently while also addressing the accusation seriously. Here's the suggested response. I understand your concern. I want to assure you that I take my health and integrity very seriously. I have never used steroids or any other performance-enhancing drug. My performance is a result of hard work, dedication, and a commitment to training and proper nutrition. I'm open to testing and investigating to prove my innocence. I appreciate your trust in me and hope that we can move forward positively.
Boy, this did not go through the PC filter the right way.
Do you want to see Ryan's response, Rob? Now take this. Ryan's response was different. No, I think Ryan is testing the trolling methods to see how many eyeballs it gets, and he's getting it. My only thing is why Conor is going after Ryan. That's my bigger thing. What does Conor get from calling out Ryan?
Attention.
Literally just eyeballs. Just eyeballs. Because by the way, this died out, right? When was this, Pat? 2 days ago?
3 days ago.
2 days ago. Now it's like nobody cares. He's just trying to get relevant because think about it. Him talking crap to Michael Chandler right now is going to do what?
Right.
It's nothing.
Nobody cares about
Nobody cares about that. Nobody. I like Michael Chandler, but who
do you think is going to win that fight? Chandler against Conor?
Conor 100%.
You think Conor 100%?
Oh, you want to bet? Do you want to bet? Wait. Do you want to bet? I'm betting Conor McGregor.
Well, since you said 100%,
I mean,
I'm going to take the odds.
Okay.
And play the odds and hold you to your word. 100%.
Well, I mean, 100%. I think he's going to win.
100%.
What do you want to bet?
So, whatever the odds are, we'll bet whatever the number is.
Odds? What do you mean?
No, Chandler's favorite.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I get, so my
total rounds point spread. So, interesting.
So, what do you want to bet, Vincent?
It's pretty even, Steven.
Yeah. What do you want to bet?
500?
You got a deal.
You guys saw that.
All right.
I'm going Conor.
I wanted
Conor.
Who's been on this podcast before?
I watch all of Chandler's fights.
Yeah, he's a beast.
And here's the thing with Chandler.
Yep.
He can beat anybody in round one.
Yes.
The way he comes out the gate,
he's a maniac.
You just have to avoid him.
He's a maniac.
Because if he connects, you may be dead.
Yeah, he's a
with
beast.
Chandler. And that's the strategy. He doesn't fight for 5 rounds. He fights for 1-2 rounds. Conor, I haven't seen him fight for a long time. The last time he fought, if I'm not mistaken, was against Dustin.
And he broke his leg.
So recovery from that and where he's at.
But I saw him kicking a heavy bag the other day.
Yeah.
And it was like the bag was going.
By the way,
the bag, Chris. The bag went.
By the way, you know who is extremely knowledgeable about UFC?
Rob, can you find that?
Extremely knowledgeable, especially women's UFC. The man that I spent 5 hours with sitting next to at UFC, Chris Cuomo. This guy knows a lot.
Who do you
he
think?
knows his stuff.
Who you got?
Chris, who you got? Rob, can you find it?
That's a really good analysis. The best thing Chandler has going for him in this fight against McGregor is the ability to take a beating. Chandler is a warrior, and he's going to get touched up by McGregor if he doesn't.
But he's going to get caught if he fights the way he does. He fights like with chin out there and like reckless.
He's going to get touched up, and he can take a beating. I don't know what kind of fighter McGregor is at this weight. I don't know. I've never seen it before. Yeah, I get that he's strong, but let me tell you, I guarantee you, he's not stronger than Chandler.
Dude,
he's strong for
he's
him.
dancing. Look at him dance. Oh,
but he is
you wanna hear
not
it, Rob?
stronger than Chandler.
Rob, put that volume up. Oh, dude, ready for the bag? Ready? Bro, this guy's
by the way,
freaking monster.
Bags don't hit back.
It's not how. You ever seen Rogan's kicks?
Oh yeah,
Rogan's got some stuff.
Dude, let me tell you, I've seen that Rogan's kick. I'm telling you, like there's certain clips like you'll watch over and over again.
That one all the time.
I've watched Rogan's kick. I don't. Sometimes I'm just bored out of my mind. I go and watch Rogan's kick.
Look at that with jeans.
No, not even this.
Oh, this is with jeans.
This is not the one I'm talking about.
No, he's talking about when he's in his tie.
He knows which. Let's see that anyways. Don't tease us like that. Let me see the kick. I actually like to see this guy kick.
Look at with jeans. He has jeans.
Go ahead. Show it. Oh my God!
I know.
Okay, go back with the other one.
But here's the one thing, just for people who love UFC and understand, you see where his hands are? The problem is, in a fight, right, the pad doesn't hit back. A guy who's able to read him taking his leg from like New Jersey, takes that step to the outside of that fulcrum. When his hands drop like this,
punch time.
There it is, guys. There's an analysis. By the way,
not that one.
You know who can take that Rogan kick, PBD?
Who?
Cenk Uyghur. He said remember when Cenk was on, he said he'd take Rogan in a fight?
Please.
I was like, Cenk, relax, guy.
Anyway, there's another one, but that's not the one.
A word fight.
Okay, so who you have, though? So here's what I'm saying.
Go ahead.
I say Chandler, if he wins in round 1. Conor, if he wins in round 2.
But if overall, if you had to put your money like how I did with Adam, where would you go? Just the.
I'll definitely take Chandler. Just on an emotional
100%?
No.
I've been following Conor since he was fighting.
I'll take Chandler. I don't have confidence that Conor can fight at this weight. I don't know that he has the engine either. At least Chandler's done it before.
I don't think Conor.
Trust Vegas.
Now on who?
I was actually probably going to. I'm rooting for Connor's comeback.
Yeah.
But he ain't paying my rent, so I'll take $500.
You got Conor.
$500.
Yeah, I got Chandler.
Who do you have?
Chandler first round. I mean, if he's been away, Conor's been away. I just think unless if this guy, Michael, changes his approach in a very different way and fights patient, I don't see him fighting like that. He's a guy that you put him in a cage as a Tasmanian devil and he goes. Conor is a little bit strategic.
Connor's a boxer, too.
So I'm telling you, if it goes past first round, I think Conor wins.
Here's the question, PBD.
Yeah.
If Conor loses and loses bad, is his UFC career done?
Yes.
I think so.
But he'll find a way to make money boxing.
Oh, no doubt. He'll fight Jake Paul next.
Let's do the last thing here, guys. So Columbia cancels university-wide commencement ceremony after weeks of protest on campus. And this led to Mayor Adams responding. And, Rob, I think you have videos of this. If you want to first... they decide to replace his university-wide commencement ceremony on May 15 with a smaller scale of school-based celebration after consultations with other student leaders and due to security concerns emphasizing the importance of these celebrations to students and families. Pro-Palestinian protests started April 17, culminated in the occupation of Hamilton Hall on April 30th, leading to over 100 arrests. University President Shafiq, in a letter to NYPD requesting assistance, stated the occupation left us no choice. This is Mayor Adams responding to it. Go ahead, Rob.
There's several graduations scheduled in New York City over the rest of this month. Are they going to be able to happen in person and peacefully?
I believe they should. It's a wonderful experience to graduate from an institution, and I don't think we should allow anything to get in our normal way of life. We will do our job, and if the institutions decide to graduate their students and celebrate a beautiful experience with their families, we will make sure it's done in a...
Is that it? Okay, we'll make sure it's done in a probably respectful and safe manner. Okay, Chris, thoughts on what's going on with all these universities?
It is a very, very obvious and egregious capitulation to the wrong people at the wrong time for the wrong reasons. And forget about the fact that a lot of these kids had their graduations taken from them in high school because of COVID.
Yep.
So now it's happening to them again, and again, it's for bad reason. And you absolutely should not be doing what the campuses are doing. You should absolutely not be caving to protest. Embrace the protest and have your commencement. Adams has the right position, but this is a layup for him. because he's not in charge of protecting the graduations. Yeah. So there's no downside for him. My criticism would be you should apply the same mentality to prosecuting crimes in your city. And if you care so much about doing the right thing to support the way of life that matters, then you should be prosecuting a lot of crimes in your city that you're not right now.
Bingo.
And that's what he is responsible for. The campuses are a layup for him.
Yeah, I mean, mind you, how much negative crap has happened to New York just this past year? If you think about it, from the sanctuary city to the border to crime to migrants punching cops in the face, walking out, flipping off the bird to everybody. This is just another problem that just keeps happening. Did you hear PBD what Governor Hochul said? So Governor Hochul was speaking at the Clinton Global Initiative.
Do you have the video?
Yeah. God knows what. We all know what their initiatives are. She basically gave a green light to the activists who can lead a nationwide movement to protest at college campuses, forcing companies to divert from causes they don't agree with. Play that one.
I learned as a young activist on my college campus the power of when you can use voices to get businesses to change their policies, great things can happen. And I'm referring to, and I'm this old, we were fighting apartheid back in the 70s. And I, as head of student government and representative of the Board of Trustees, we decided that our university should no longer be investing in companies that are doing business in South Africa because you're supporting apartheid. It was a nationwide movement starting on college campuses. When we got our universities to feel the shame to divest their holdings, all of a sudden it started collapsing. They began pulling out of South Africa. That's how a few committed people, activists, can make a difference.
That's what she's basically telling them.
What's the other clip you were talking about?
So there's one more. So this is all happening under this. And now this is at the global conference. She says, and I'm not, this is not a fake clip. She says black kids in New York, young black kids are too dumb to know what a computer is.
There's no way she said that.
What? Rob, please play this.
Young black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word a computer is. They don't know. They don't know these things. And I want the world to open up to all of them.
Too dumb.
Because when you have their diverse voices innovating solutions through technology, then you're really addressing society's broader challenges.
If you're saying that young...
too dumb, though. She says they just don't know what a computer is.
No, what the word computer means. That means that they're dumb.
I know. That's your interpretation.
Yeah.
But she didn't use those words.
She didn't say the word dumb.
Yeah.
I'll be quick. You know where I stand on this. The Palestine situation is the new BLM from 4 years ago. Where's BLM now? Fraud, out of business, not even a thing. Not the mantra, the actual organization. And who's funding all this? We basically have seen it tied to left-wing dark money and George Soros. We know that. Number two, this left-wing progressive intersectional decolonialization, woke indoctrinated college kids. I can go on and on and on. Their 4 years of college, we're talking about graduation, started with COVID. They've been zooming into class and being woken by professors 4 years later, and they're the ones that have ruined this for their college kids. Yeah. Last thing, shout out to Eric Adams, because we gave him a highlight last week about respecting the American flag. Basic values. It's shocking that the America's mayor, New York City, has to take a stand on respecting the flag. Columbia is the tip of the spear. It's not just Columbia, it's Cornell, it's Harvard, it's UCLA, it's Emory, it's Texas. But Columbia is the tip of the spear. And you know what I found interesting? While this whole Gays for Gaza brigade is going on, there were actually kids holding up the American flag, pride in America, because they realize what's happening with these organizations is they are fundamentally anti-American. This isn't protesting against a war and sending up. These kids that are protesting are actually anti-American. They've been indoctrinated to hate America. They feel like they are the oppressors, white guilt, white shame. And they went and they asked these kids, hey, are you even Jewish? They're like, nah, we're just dudes from New York that love America.
Tom,
that's where we're at.
This weekend, the tide was turning. The tide was turning on this, and you could see it. At the University of Alabama, a small group comes, a reasonable-sized group, with the police there. They had their permit, apparently, to demonstrate, and they were pro-Palestine, chanting and everything. An even larger group right across the quad there at the University of Alabama, and starts playing the Star Spangled Banner, singing the Star Spangled Banner, and waving American flags, and then started chanting FJB. The protesters, outnumbered, if you saw this, and there's a very funny clip that's on X, suddenly also started chanting FJB. And they were going back and forth with each other like the protesters decided, option one, get my butts kicked here. Maybe I don't want to do this. And then you go to University of Virginia. So I thought that was a sign the tide was turning, and there were students on campus saying, we're not going to take it. We're going to counter-protest right in front of you here patriotically. University of Virginia, hey, we're going to protest. And they sent demands to school. School said, what are your demands? You have a permit to protest here, free speech, make your case, have your demonstration, do all this, do it peacefully. And then they said, well, if you don't meet our demands, we're going to set up camps. You start putting stakes in the ground and putting tents here and make this place like Columbia, and we're going to sweep you all out of here. Good. And that's exactly what they did. And then apparently started throwing things at the cops, and you see the tear gas. The law. The tear gas came out. And yesterday, the cherry on top of the cupcake yesterday, Harvard and MIT. Remember them in 2 months ago in Congress? Sure. The interim president at Harvard says, this is Bloomberg reporting, this isn't X, this isn't Fringe, this isn't Radar Online making things up. This is Bloomberg reporting. Harvard says, all right, you've made your points, but if you don't clean this up and move all this off campus, there will be punishment. I'm putting an ultimatum here. There it is. Harvard and MIT threaten punishment for protesters, an ultimatum. You've made your point. It's time to go home.
And just remember who's not showing their face at these protests. Vinny said it. COVID's not a thing anymore. Stop it, guys. They don't want to be seen because they don't want accountability.
2 clips and we'll wrap up. Hang on. This is one clip that Vinny, you sent that eventually both sides start chanting the same thing.
A common ground. Think about it. They both hate each other, but they found common ground by saying F Joe Biden. Look at this.
Oh, wow.
This is...
Look at Joe Biden bringing people together.
Look now.
Unify.
Look, now they love each other.
Wow.
Look at you.
But listen to the side of the crowd. One side is bigger and deeper. You hear that?
Yeah. No, it's what did
the
Trump say
gays
about
for
this,
Gaza
Rob?
and the pro-American.
Can you play this clip by
Rob, what is
Trump
this?
and then we'll wrap this up. Go ahead, Rob.
Donald Trump outside the courthouse yesterday where he accuses Biden donors of paying paid advocates.
Bingo.
Now, it just came out, Columbia just canceled their commencement. Axios. Columbia just canceled their commencement. That shouldn't happen. And it also came out that the protesters, many of the protesters, are backed by Biden's donors. Okay? Are you listening, Israel? I hope you're listening, Israel. Hope you're getting smart. But they're backed by Biden donors. That's where the money's coming from. And I'm not surprised at all. There's many other articles, many of them having to do with the gag order and the unconstitutionality.
There you go. Bingo. Hey. This is like he said, Chris said something very interesting today. Typically he says a month out I could predict that Trump was going to win against Hillary, right? He says now, forget about the October surprise. There could be a November surprise. I mean, this thing could go to the very last second until decision's made. Anyways, gang, it's been great doing a home team today with everybody in Cuomo.
With
Chris,
Cuomo.
all of us. We got a lot of different things we discussed.
Hello.
If you got any of the questions from anybody from today's episodes, go Minnect, download Minnect, start Minnecting today. And by the way, some of you guys are like, why is it, $15,000 for a call and this person's $5,000? Because we don't want to do calls, but we'll respond back in a text and an audio. But if you desperately do want to do a call, then pay for it. But we prefer not to do calls because our schedules are crazy. Some people will do them. Vinny does them, Tom does them, Adam does them. Some people do them. There's certain people just don't want to do the calls because their schedules. That's what that means. Anyways, enjoy the weekend. I think we have another podcast. I think I'm talking to Cuba Gooding Jr. this afternoon, which probably is going to go out tomorrow. What do we have on Thursday? Is it Home Team Thursday?
Home Team, and then possibly another podcast late Thursday or early Friday.
What a surprise that we don't want to say yet. Okay, stay tuned. God bless everybody. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.